Delaware State University, Gary Lang along with Mike Walker, and we are getting ready for this game to get underway. Mike, keys to the game for Delaware State.
I think for Delaware State University, offensively, it is about maintaining possession, right, and strategically moving the ball down the field. They have a good passer in Tyleek Bethea, and he's got some tremendous weapons offensively. Brian Dallas at the running back position, Trey Gross and Kawana Colley, two big targets at the wide receiver position. They can really mix their offense up, maintain possession, and really focus to make the first down the touchdown. It's all about getting to the red zone for Delaware State today.
How much of a difference does it make to players, if any difference at all, in playing at night as opposed to the day games they're used to? The first two home games here at Delaware State, pretty hot. It's cool tonight. Temperature right now about 60 degrees, but under the lights. For a lot of these guys, 2 or 3 years in college, they haven't played under the lights since high school.
Listen, it's something that, you're going to be a little bit excited about. You're going to look at the field under lights and in a different situation. But, they practice at night. And once that whistle blows, those little intangibles, they go out the window, and people just focus on what their assignments are.
And that is a good point. By the time practice is finished, it is dark here in Dover, so they are used to having those lights on and getting the feel for the stadium. Probably more comfortable for the home team to come out under those conditions as the opposing team just getting used to all kinds of different things when you travel.
Yeah, and Delaware State needs every advantage it can conceivably get in today's game because, again, this is a huge one. This is a season-defining game, and, they can't afford to allow South Carolina State to snatch their dreams here at Alumni Stadium.
Hornets want to go to 2-3 on the season here tonight at home, and 1-2 in the conference. South Carolina State, they've had a pretty good run of it here. They're 2-1 on the regular season and facing their first MEAC foe here tonight at Delaware State University. We'll see who can get this game on track earliest. Kickoff weather, absolutely beautiful here at Delaware State University. About 60 degrees, a light wind coming out of the east, 9 to 10 miles per hour. Mostly cloudy skies. No rain in the forecast. We haven't had rain for days. And it feels like the upper 50s when you add in that little bit of a wind chill.
I think it's great weather for football, Gary. I'm hoping that the coolness of the night does something to kind of diminish the number of cramps that we usually see guys complaining about when they're playing in that, that hot afternoon summer weather.
Well, we had 90-degree temperatures on the 1st of October here in Dover, but then the weather gods found out, yes, it is October, it is officially fall, and the temperatures dropped almost 25 to 30 degrees within 24 hours in the area. So now it feels more fall-like for us, and this is definitely football type of weather. The Hornets have won the opening toss and will receive the kickoff. They're going to put that offense on the field first and test out that defense of South Carolina State.
I like the idea, Gary. I like the gutsy call. We've been struggling offensively, and I think it sends a message to the offense that you have confidence in them, that you think they can literally, get the ball rolling and get down into the end zone on their first possession. So, Coach Milstead, I take my hat off to him by getting them inspired.
Get that offense out there, get the crowd into the game, and lift up that team. And we talked in our tailgate program about keeping the defense off the field as much and letting them be rested, and they can do their job out there if they're not spending most of the game on the field. Time of possession can become very important, and that's what both teams will be trying to get here tonight is time of possession, points on the scoreboard.
I think the defense is going to play solid because they give me no reason to believe that they won't. They've been solid in every one of the games that they've played this season. I don't think the scores really reflect what the defense has accomplished out on the field. Again, when you ask the defense to continuously be out there and try to prevent somebody from scoring, it's only a matter of time before the offense is going to get into the end zone. So hopefully they will continue playing the way that they have the entire season, and the offense has made some strides in the added days that they've had since that last loss to North Carolina A&T.
And you see the Bulldogs of South Carolina State will be moving from our right to our left, kicking off there in the maroon pants, white jerseys, Delaware State in all red, as they like to do for home games. Dylan Bredesen, the 5'10", 160-pound sophomore for South Carolina State, getting set to kick off here. Graduate of West Florida High School.
Look like Tavares Sample and Charles Peel are back there to return this kick for Delaware State University. Two speedsters. If they can catch a lane or a seam, anything can happen.
Delaware State put some people back there who can put on the jets and burn it, and this kickoff will be taken short up around the 9-yard line, picked up at the 17-yard line, and a little bit of running room out to the 25-yard line on the return for the Hornets by Charles Peeler.
Peeler kind of fumbled the ball initially, Gary, but had the presence of awareness to pick up the ball and advance it for a few yards down the field.
Now, upfield, right about the 45-yard line, we have two penalty markers. They could both be on the same miscue or offense, and they are now saying, I think this one's going to be on the Bulldogs. A personal foul against South Carolina State is the indication.
Here at Delaware State, we normally don't see a flag until the second play of the game, but they're throwing on the first one in today's game.
Move that ball up to the 40-yard line, and that's where the Hornets will begin this game. That is great field position to start off out near midfield. Tyleek Bethea, the quarterback for Delaware State, sets up in the shotgun formation, standing back at about his own 34-yard line. The Hornets spread two receivers out wide on the left side, one on the right side. Marker flies, and the whistles blow to stop play before we can get things going. This is going to cost the Hornets 5.
Yeah, it looked like Kawana Colley kind of jumped a little bit earlier in that play, and his job on that play was to block, and I think he just wanted to get involved in the play and just jump the count. Anytime
you see that penalty marker fly and the whistles blow before the play, it's pretty much an offensive penalty.
Yes.
The official sponsors of HSRN are American.
Operator, please.
With a first down and 15 after that miscue, and let's see what they dial up here to try to get something going early in the football game. Officials have things set. The ball moved back to the 35-yard line. Let's get play underway here. Bethea hands off on first down. A little bit of a hole, cuts to the outside, and it's a carry by Bryant Dallas on the carry. Bryant Dallas getting the call on first down.
Picks up about 3 yards on the play, so it's still going to be second and long.
Dallas, a transfer out of Division II Shorter College, came into the Hornets. Has contributed to this team since his transfer. Out of the gun, fake handoff to Dallas. A little bit of trouble in the backfield. Thrown downfield, and a good catch for Delaware State made by Angelo Gonzalez, the wide receiver cutting in. A little bit high, got the hands up and caught it. Took it to the Bulldogs' 39-yard line.
I've heard a lot about this gentleman, Gary. They said that they were just waiting to get him on the field, that he's a true playmaker, and he shows it on his very first reception.
And now we have a marker. We're going to have some motion on that offensive line. Eric Kareem got in to the play just a little bit early, the right guard for Delaware State, to cost the Hornets 5. That'll move the ball back to the 44-yard line.
Okay, the butterflies in your stomach, they can't allow you to make mistakes and cost your team valuable yards, and more importantly, to kind of kill the momentum that you have after a really big play.
Hornets go back to the huddle. And you come out now with receivers split out on both sides, 2 on the left, 1 on the right, 2 backs in the backfield. They'll put the ball down, fake the handoff, going downfield, looking for Kawana Colley, but way off the mark on the throw.
Tyleek Bethea under pressure just gets rid of the ball. It's in the general area of Kawana Colley, but he had no chance of catching that again. Offensive line's got to do a little bit better job of giving Bethea some opportunity to stand in that pocket and look downfield.
Hornets with a 2nd and 15. What we're seeing is them huddling up, and oftentimes they have been going with a no-huddle offense, Mike.
And I think that's good for them because, again, they want to take some time off this clock. Those quick 3-and-outs really hurt them in the long run.
Bethea throwing again, looking for Colley, some contact between he and the defender on the play. He turned around looking for a flag, but none was thrown. Coverage downfield by Jacoby Durant. Durant, the redshirt sophomore, on coverage there, bringing up 3rd and 15.
Del State going a little vertical on that play. I think they just really want to be more horizontal. Get these guys an opportunity to make plays by getting them the ball in space on these short crossing or out patterns.
Bethea drops back, throws over the head of the intended receiver. That looked like Bizette Woodley was the intended receiver on that, and just way too high for Woodley. Makes it 4th and 15, and the Hornets will be forced to punt.
Ball just over his hands, and I think he set up shy of the first down marker. So had he caught that ball, he still would have had to have some run after catch to pick up the first down. Again, miscues for Delaware State University kind of killed this drive, and this is exactly what they didn't want to do, turn the ball early to South Carolina in the first quarter.
Fidel Romo Martinez in to punt for the Hornets. Good snap, a little bit of pressure, but he gets it away. This one, a ball that hits at about the 5-yard line. Hornets should be able to cover this before it gets into the end zone. They'll watch it roll just outside of the end zone. Almost covered it too late. That ball almost touched the line.
There's something to be said about pinning them down, inside the 1, but, the 2's not bad either.
1-yard line would have made everybody happy on the sideline, but that one almost worked its way into the end zone. And so the South Carolina State Bulldogs will have to go 99 yards plus a few inches to get to the end zone. This is a timeout on the field.
I'm transferring to Tech.
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. About time you showed up.
These are my people. This is the land where my forefathers lie. These are my people.
The ball was sitting just outside of the end zone at the 1-yard line, but they have moved it, or just inside the 1. They've moved it out to the 5, and as I recall, it was touched out there first by a Delaware State player. So they're going with the point where it was first touched, not where it was finally brought to rest. Tyrese Nick, the junior quarterback, stands at the goal line to take the snap out of the shotgun for South Carolina State. Drops back, fakes that he wants to throw the screen, and runs through the middle. Big hole. He's up to the 30, the 35, the 40. Midfield tries to put tried to avoid the tackler, but was unable to do that. Caught from behind, but a big gain on the first play of the game for South Carolina State, and they're going to mark his forward progress to the Delaware State 46-yard line.
Right in that area where Brian Cavalcante is usually sitting in his middle linebacker position. Again, Nick's doing a great job of just tucking in running, Gary, and picking up huge yardage on the play.
And now Nick on second down, on the second play, going deep, looking for his receiver down there. Shaquan Shaq Davis just threw it a little bit too far. Davis got behind the defender and could have had 6.
Seems to be some confusion on the defense. I don't know if they jumped or they were influenced by the count.
48, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
5-yard penalty on the play against the Hornets. Moves it up, makes it 1st and 5.
That's going to be defensive end Brian Carswell.
Yep.
Just a little bit too aggressive.
Coaches love Carswell. He's a transfer. That 5th year he got because of a red shirt earlier. Graduated and came here to Delaware State and has done so well. But on that play, he got caught on the infraction. 1st and 5, Bulldogs. Nick hands it off. And a pickup of close to 5 yards as they go on the ground for the first time.
Second down for the Bulldogs.
James on the carry. and just short of the first down, as they'll say he got to the Hornets' 37-yard line. Bulldogs need to get to the Delaware State 36. Tyrese Nick from the shotgun, lone back in the backfield, drops back, wants to throw, looks, right side, gave that one away, double coverage, complete, touchdown, South Carolina State.
Touchdown Bulldogs.
And again, even though it was double coverage on there, the receiver got behind the defenders, and Shaq Davis pulled it in for the score.
The offensive line does a pretty good job of giving Nix an opportunity to step up into that throw, and he places it right between two defenders, Keenan Black and Devin Smith, and that was just a great throw by Nix.
Right on the money, put it down there. And South Carolina State gets out to the early lead. Their offense got it done. The extra point kick is up, and it is good. 12:01 remaining in the first quarter here in Dover, Delaware. We'll take this timeout. This is HSRN, the voice of HBCU sports. You're watching MEAC Football on ESPN3. Right, this my bad.
Jordan Hannon on the kickoff return. First and 10 for your Hornets.
To Delaware State, Trey Gross took it at about the 15-yard line, then tried to find some running room and ended up losing 3 on the return. Back to the 12-yard line. Hornets will put it in play from there. Scoring drive for South Carolina State, 3 plays, 95 yards. Delaware State now has to put something together here.
Again, Gary, they have to find that right balance of short pass supported by their run game. And they can bounce the run game inside or outside. But, again, they just got to really mix it up and not be predictable for that South Carolina State D.
2 backs in the backfield, and they hand it off. They'll run it straight up the middle and pick up about a yard out to the 13-yard line. On the carry, it looked like Bryant Dallas. Richard Harris, rather, was on the carry there, number 35 for Delaware State. Gain of only a yard makes it second down and long yardage, 9 yards to go.
It's 2nd and 9 at the 13-yard line.
Hornets split 2 out on the right side, 1 on the left side, and a lone back in the backfield with the quarterback, Tyleek Bethea. Bethea now steps forward. Looks like he may have audibled at the line of scrimmage. Takes the snap, rolls right side, quick out, completes it, and it gets it to Bezette Woodley. Woodley wrapped up after he picks up a few yards. Looks like they're going to mark the line of scrimmage at about the 18, 19-yard line. Hornets will be faced with a 3rd down and 4. They'll mark it at the 18.
That's all they really need to do, Gary, is just get the ball into their playmakers' hands and on, just basic pitch and catch type scenarios. And that will essentially allow that quarterback, Tyleek Bethea, to get some more options in terms of going deeper. But right now they just want to get their playmakers involved.
Big 3rd down here for Delaware State. They need to put together a drive to get back into this thing, down by 7 already. They'll run the ball, and they will not get to the first down marker. In fact, they'll only pick up a yard out to the 19-yard line on the carry by Bryant Dallas, and that will bring in the punting unit again.
And it just seems like it's a continuation from the same offense that they had last week where they just can't sustain any drives. It's just a 3-and-out situation where they're forcing that defense to get right back on the field.
And playing without, on defense, their top tackler, Brian Cavalcante, a preseason MEAC Defensive Player of the Year. And it showed on that first series by the Bulldogs. They went 3 plays, 95 yards. Hornets getting ready for the snap. There it is. Pressure coming, and he just got it away. Fair catch called for, and the ball hits. Did it hit a Delaware State player, or did it hit a South Carolina State player? Hornets acting like they have the ball because they jumped on it immediately. The officials talking this one over. And the Bulldogs indicating it is theirs. Delaware State came close to running into the return man there. So they'll put the ball down. They're going to mark the line of scrimmage at midfield at the 50-yard line. And we have a break in the action, a timeout on the field. You're watching MEAC Football on ESPN3.
Forefathers' life, these are my people.
State University, Gary Lang along with Mike Walker. Hornets of Delaware State on a home game here looking for their first MEAC win of the season. Trail by 7. South Carolina State Bulldogs in their first conference game of the season. Trying to take a victory back to Orangeburg. Their second possession of the game. Fake the handoff on first down, run it, and cut to the outside. Good carry by Tyrese Nick, and he is finally knocked out of bounds inside the Hornets' 35-yard line. They'll mark him out at the 34-yard line. 16-yard gain by the quarterback.
Tyrese Nick, he opened up the game with a big 50-yard run, and you see that he just feels comfortable running behind those big offensive linemen. He's going to be a tremendous set for Delaware against Delaware State University because not only does he run well and with confidence, but he throws equally as well.
Line of scrimmage was set at the Hornets' 34-yard line. Nick hands it off on first down, right through the middle. Big run there on the carry by Datron James. And James just hammered through there and used that size. Got a good-sized hole, took advantage of it.
South Carolina State gaining a lot of yards where they normally don't gain yards against Delaware State University. And that's right up the middle. So you can already see the effect that Brian Cavalcante's lack or non-presence has for the D.
James has a touchdown in each of the team's 3 games so far this season. This time the Bulldogs stay on the ground as they pick up a couple of actually lost a couple of yards on the play. Put the ball back at the 25-yard line. Make it 2nd and 12. Hornets defense up to the task that time.
That might count as a sack because it looked like he was back there looking to pass. Couldn't find anybody downfield. And defense just did a good job of tackling him for that short loss. So maybe somebody would just register a sack on that play.
Nick working from the gun as the ball on the far side hash mark. Turns left side, throws, complete. Taking a couple of hits, bouncing around like a pinball was Juwan Moody. And Moody gained no yardage. He was behind the line of scrimmage when he caught that ball. That's only his second catch of the season.
That's an impressive no gain if you ask me, guy, because it looked like he got hit by about 5 different Hornets, and he still managed to maintain his feet and almost looked like he was getting ready to break away to maybe pick up some big yards.
3rd down and a short 12 here. Nick, plenty of time, throwing deep to the end zone. It is incomplete. Trying to get it to Khalik Anthony.
4th down.
DeAndre Blue Ely on that coverage, Gary, did a good job of breaking that up when the receivers just getting ready to catch the ball.
Wilverine was the intended receiver on that. Hit him in the hands. Question would have been whether he could have gotten the feet down inbounds. He was at the back of the end zone.
Only takes one in college, and again, that was a pretty good pass. He just couldn't pull that ball in. Dylan
Bredeson's field goal attempt is up, and it is long enough. It is good.
The kick is good.
And that puts the Bulldogs up 10-0 here on Delaware State early still in the first quarter.
There's plenty of time left in this game, and obviously, all Delaware State has to do is put an offensive drive together again and see if they can get themselves some points on the board.
And we'll have another timeout here after the exchange. We'll take the timeout as well. This is HSRN, the voice of HBCU sports. You're watching MEAC Football on ESPN3.
The land where my forefathers lie. These are my people.
In Dover, Delaware, South Carolina State up 10-0 here on Delaware State, set to kick off. And the Hornets trying to find something to do with this offense. Gained a first down on their first play from scrimmage, and then they had to punt. Last possession, 3 and out, and this kickoff taken inside the 5 and brought right up the middle, cut to the outside. Good return by Trey Gross, still on his feet, out around midfield, and finally brought down right about the 50-yard line. Maybe that is the spark these Delaware State Hornets need on that return by Trey Gross.
Man, he's so sorry. That 81 is actually a 21.
Oh.
That's Jordan Hanna. And again,
Okay.
he did a good job of catching a nice seam, setting up a couple of blocks, put a good move on the kicker, and then bounced it to the right side and was trying to really just, see if he could, extend that. Yeah, that's a great run by him.
Good stiff arm out about the 45-yard line to pick up that additional yardage. They'll put the ball at the South Carolina State 49-yard line. Now let's see if the Hornets can get this offense on track here. Talik Bethea hands off on first down. Good hole right in the middle, and taking advantage of it is the running back, Bryant Dallas. He's out there in first down territory to the 39 of South Carolina State. Move the chains.
Pops a first down run on the first down, and again, a little bit of momentum I see on this offense. They have to establish something, be it the run game, the short pass game. They got to really just establish something and try to beat South Carolina State doing one thing.
Dallas sets up as the lone back in the backfield for the Hornets. 3 split out on the left side, 1 on the right side. They give it to Dallas, head down, drives through, picks up a couple out to the 37-yard line, a gain of 2 on the play.
Brian Dallas just commits himself to, I guess a small hole that he might have seen on that play. Wasn't really much developed by the offensive line, and he just lowered his shoulder and picked up as many feet as he could.
Leading rusher on the team for Delaware State with 170 yards, 52 carries, 1 touchdown on the season so far for Bryant Dallas. Hornets come to the line of scrimmage with 2nd down and 8. I'll go with a 2-man backfield now. Dallas and Richard Harris trying to get things set up, running out of time here on the play clock. Got it away with a second left. Bethea throws. It is complete. And it'll be a first down for Delaware State. Nope. They're saying no catch. Good dive by Angelo Gonzalez to try to get to that ball. Looked like he had the catch. We were looking from behind, though, so apparently that ball made contact with the ground to bring up 3rd and 8.
Looked like it might have actually just gone through his hands, Gary. I thought it was a good throw by Tyleek Bethea. He put it where only he could catch it, and he just couldn't come up with the big reception. It's his first game action of the season, so he's got to get the cobwebs off, and he's got to make some big plays. There's really no time for him to develop. He's just got to step up and make big plays.
Redshirt sophomore transfer from Coffeyville Community College, played for the team there. Now the throw, right side, incomplete. Good coverage for South Carolina State there by B.J. Davis on the intended receiver, and it is 4th down and 8. What will the Hornets do here?
Started the drive off, or the after the first down. They started off with a run, picked up 2 yards, 2 incomplete passes, and they find themselves in a 4th and long situation. It just goes to show how important it is that making these receptions on these drives or making plays to extend the drive, how important it is.
Jose Romo Martinez comes in to attempt a 54-yard field goal, and nope, they snapped it directly to him, and he punted it left-footed, dropped it at about the 5-yard line, takes a Delaware State bounce, and they will down it at the 3. They were set up with a holder out there showing field goal formation. South Carolina State wasn't buying it. They had somebody in the end zone. A 54-yard field goal might be just out of the range of Jose Romo Martinez.
So they show the field goal. They punt the ball. That's, the option that you have when a guy is a 2-for-1 when he kicks and punts. But he does a great job of pinning South Carolina deep on their side of the 50. The problem is the last time we saw this, Tyrese Nick on his first carry ran straight up the middle for a 50-yard gain. So the defense has to really pay attention to this quarterback's ability to run the ball.
Remember, Jose took over the punting last year after the Howard game when Fidel, his brother, got hurt, the regular punter. South Carolina State runs the ball on first down from the 3-yard line, takes it out right side to Prince Haynes. Gets out to the 7. He had to be 2nd and 6.
Second down for the Bulldogs. It's 2nd and 6. Ball on the 7-yard line.
Tyrese Nick, quarterback for South Carolina State from the shotgun. Looks downfield, doesn't throw, runs with the ball, and he's going to be very close to first down yardage. Had to get out to the 13, and looks like he might have gotten there on that carry.
He's a tough customer, Gary. He's slight of frame, but he's not afraid to run that ball inside the tackle, and I've seen him take some huge hits dating back to last year. But it's hard to get this guy out the game. He can take some punishment.
Came into this game with only 26 carries, and I say only 26, but 72 yards rushing coming in and a touchdown. But he has really put it on with his feet tonight. Here's Nick again throwing. It is incomplete. Went for the short pass, trying to get it to DeMontrez Burrows. And brings up a 2nd down and 10 now. Good coverage on the play for the Hornets.
By Devin Smith, again, doing a good job of timing up that hit to meet the wide receiver just as he was attempting to catch the ball.
Now Nick, 21 of 50, 2 interceptions and a touchdown on the season in his first 3 games. They'll keep it on the ground this time and pick up a couple of yards out to the 14-yard line. Nick on the quarterback keeper for a yard. 3rd down now, and a long 8 or a short 9, whichever you want to call it.
Tavares Sample, defensive back, in on the tackle on that play.
Nick, the penalty marker goes. Looks like he drew that defense offside. The pass is complete at the 21-yard line. It's short of a first down, but we'll have to wait and see. Did the Hornets jump offside, or were they drawn off? South Carolina State certainly acting with the way they've positioned themselves as if they just picked up 5 yards.
They might hit Delaware State with this one. I don't think they got back in time.
So as they sort things out and determine what the line of scrimmage will be, it should put it up at the 19-yard line, and it will be 3rd down still and about 4 yards to go. 3 or 4 yards to go.
Following the penalty is 3rd and 4 at the 19-yard line.
3rd and 4 is the call here. Changes things a bit for what Tyrese Nick may want to do on this play as he looks toward the sideline on the north side of the stadium. Man in motion to the near side. Nick fakes the handoff, turns right side, hit just as he threw the ball. And the defender who got in there blitzing pulled off at the last moment. He could have really leveled Nick, but he didn't want to get hit with a roughing the passer call. But it did affect Nick's throw. He had to get rid of it very quickly.
That looked like Brooks Parker on that pressure. And Tyrese Nick is taking a lot of hits in this first quarter, Gary. Not only after he throws these passes, but he's also run the ball quite a bit in this first quarter. And, he's small to frame. This is not some 6'6", big guy who can take a lot of hits. He's relatively a small, fast guy, so he's got to be very careful about that.
Tim Ewing punts. And that ball will be downed by South Carolina State at their own 49-yard line. Hornets again will get good field position to start off, but they haven't been able to do anything with their field position so far during the football game, as we're down to just over 3 minutes left in the first quarter. And the Bulldogs of South Carolina State up by 10. Delaware State needs to get some points on the board here in the first period.
Might be time for Delaware State University to hit some of those, deeper chapters in that playbook and look for some wrinkles, look for some motion, look for some trick plays, just put a little more spice into their offense.
Let's see what Tyleek Bethea is able to do this time around. Hands off on the end around, and that's going to lose a bunch of yardage back inside the Hornets' 45-yard line as South Carolina State covered it well. Trey Gross tried to take it around from the far side to the near side. Just never happened.
Just too much penetration and very good pursuit by South Carolina State's defense. Those guys up front, they got to be able to sustain those blocks, especially on those jet sweeps, because they take a long time to develop. So you just can't bump a guy on that play. You literally got to lock into his body and ride him down that line of scrimmage and create those seams for the running backs to make those cuts and those wind backs.
Hornets lost 6 yards on the play, 2nd down and 16. Bethea fakes the pass, decides to run with it. He'll get out across the 45 to the 46-yard line, hesitated just a little bit, and that let those defenders come up out of that secondary and make the stop.
Tyleek Bethea is very young in the game, Gary, and right now his movements and his actions, are somewhat scripted, so to speak. He's reacting not with the quickness of a veteran, and he'll get better at it. But right now, he's still very, very young in the game.
3rd and 15 now as Delaware State trying to make some forward progress, but on this series, it was backward progress on that first down play and the loss of yardage. 3rd and 15, Bethea pressure, dumps it off, and it is incomplete, and fortunately incomplete because it would have been another loss of yardage had Trey Gross been able to pull that one in.
Again, just too much pressure by that South Carolina State defense. Tyleek Bethea has been throwing the ball with either somebody on his back or on his way down to the ground onto his own back. Just a whole lot of pressure, not allowing this young quarterback to step up and find a receiver in that pocket.
Jordan Hanna ran a deep pattern on that play and came off the field immediately. The trainers are looking at him. He was limping as he came off. But now 4th and 15 for Delaware State. Fidel Aromo Martinez, the regular punter. No, it was Jose punting, and there may have been some contact back there. Loose ball, finally just catch.
Team to have to even rely on quote-unquote breaks and lucky bounces.
That's part of football.
Yeah, but if you're Delaware State University, you'd like to be able to kind of make your own breaks by driving down the field, sustaining your drives, and taking some time off the clock. Right now, they're really relying on the defense to keep them in the game.
It looked like there was contact with the punter, Jose Romo Martinez, but no flag on the play.
He may win an Emmy, but he won't win the Oscar. He couldn't sell it enough to get that flag.
South Carolina State with the ball at their own 17-yard line to start their 4th possession of the game. Tyrese Nick has had a pretty good game here so far in the first quarter. As he hands it off on first down, they'll run out that right side behind the guard and the tackle over there and pick up a couple of yards out to the 19-yard line. Pick up the ball carrier here if we can.
Detron James on the carry. 2nd down for the Bulldogs.
Detron James, the running back, picked up the 2 yards, 2nd and 8. Nick started to call the signals, then went and looked toward the sideline. The offensive lineman and the receivers on that right side looking toward the sideline as well. Nick fakes the handoff. He'll take it around the right side, breaks one tackle, cuts it down the sideline, goes out of bounds pretty close to the first down marker. Looked like he got up to around the 27, and that should be close enough for the first down. But we'll wait to see the official call They'll set the ball down just inside the 27-yard line, but they will move the chains.
That was just a good read by Nick. You know, he rode that running back deep into the line of scrimmage, and he saw that there was no pressure off the corner, no support, so he just maintained possession and ran and did just enough to pick up the first down.
He is destroying this Hornets defense with his feet here tonight. Nick hands it off. They run it right through the middle, and a pickup of about 4 yards out to the 31-yard line.
South Carolina State looks very happy with just continuously running everything to the right side. That's got to be the strong side, you know, of their offense, because they've had a lot of success against Delaware State University's defense.
First period has come to a close here in Dover, Delaware, so we have a timeout on the field with South Carolina State leading 10-0. You're watching MEAC Football on ESPN3 and listening to HSRN, the voice of HBCU sports.
My people.
From Dover, Delaware, Gary Lang along with Mike Walker. South Carolina State with the ball. They have a 2nd down and 6 to start the second period at their own 31-yard line. And it's been a good first quarter for their quarterback, Tyrese Nick. Keep it on the ground, through a hole, and out to the 43-yard line on that carry for the Bulldogs. That was LeBron Morris, and that's a first down for South Carolina State. That's their 7th first down of the game. They've moved the ball consistently, mostly on the ground here, and they'll run it through the middle. Again, a huge hole, and a tackle that just makes a stop at the last moment as LeBron Morris takes it to the Hornets' 45-yard line. Quick action out of that backfield by South Carolina State. And Hornets trying to catch up. The big hole in the middle there, they give it again to LeBron Morris. This time he's stopped after a gain of 3. They'll say 4 yards out to Delaware State's 41-yard line. Working that middle very efficiently. The Hornets missing their leading defender as they throw left side. This time it is complete. On the receiving end of it is Rodriguez Thomas. Thomas gets to the Delaware State 23-yard line. And he was wide open on that play. The snap off the shotgun. They hand it off. They try that middle again. It was stacked up. LeBron Morris managed to squirt forward, maybe for a yard to the 22. It'll be 2nd down and, they put it at the 21. 2nd down and 8 for South Carolina State. Nick steps forward, looks to the sideline as he may be changing the play here. He has LeBron Morris in the backfield. 2 receivers split out wide right, 1 on the left side. And Nick has a little bit of pressure, throwing end zone. It is caught. Touchdown, South Carolina State. Waited for the official's call, and it is a touchdown for the Bulldogs. Defense couldn't have been any tighter, but the receiver got in front and made that catch.
Jermaine Granger on the coverage. He was just on the receiver's back, Gary, and I guess the worst possible position you could be, trying to fight for that ball. And credit South Carolina State, did a great job of just extending those hands, making a catch, and out physicaling Delaware State University.
Jawan Moody made the catch. The extra point kick is up, and it is good. South Carolina State extends this lead early here in the second quarter. Look at that. We're going to look at the touchdown catch again.
Just a great pass by Nick. He's in the pocket, very comfortable back there, and finds Moody in the right side of the end zone and puts that ball up. And Moody does pretty much all the work. He just out-muscles Granger for the reception.
The receiver did the work. Yeah, he got himself in position to catch and work off the defender. But they were pretty tight there in that corner of the end zone. Big task here now in front of Delaware State. as they have to try to scratch back here, down by 17 with 13:10 left in the first period. Alumni Stadium in Dover, Delaware, right across the street from our field here. Big goings-on with NASCAR today at Dover Downs International Speedway.
You always know when they're in town, Gary, because you can hear those cars rumbling about a mile away.
Oh, farther than that sometimes. Kickoff taken at the 8 for Delaware State. Good return. Oh, wow, what a hit. All of a sudden, as he got to the 18-yard line, he got popped. On the return, Charles Peeler looked like he was going to have a pretty good return, and then all of a sudden he got knocked down. We do have a marker on the play, not far from where the tackle was made. We'll see, though, who this one will be on, and the way the officials are looking, and a hand gesture right there makes me believe that they'll be stepping off yardage toward the east, and that is toward the Delaware State side of the field.
During the return, illegal block in the back.
Illegal block in the back steps the Hornets back 10 yards to their own 10-yard line. If they're going to get some points on the board, they have to put together a big drive here and go 90 yards.
Yeah, they definitely got to step up and make some plays. You know, it's early in the second quarter. They gave up some significant points in this game, and they got to claw their way back into the game.
Quarterback Tyleek Bethea has some targets out there, but right now they're going to keep the ball on the ground, and there's no gain on the play. The carry by Bryant Dallas makes it 2nd and 10.
Delaware State right now just not really doing anything well on offense, Gary. Can't establish any sort of a passing game, be it long or a short passing game. And they're struggling to run the ball, be it inside the tackles or outside the tackles. Right now, the offense just doesn't seem to have any answers for this defense.
Bethea is 3 of 9 passing, averaging 2.4 yards per completion. Working from the shotgun on 2nd down and 10, hands it off, and they try to go with Dallas up the middle. They're going to lose some yardage on that one. He was hit in the backfield for a loss of 2 yards on the play. Set it down on the 8-yard line. It is 3rd and 12. And now Bethea is going to have to throw from just about his own end zone.
And Del State's just getting beat up front right now. The 4 defensive linemen for South Carolina State are really dominating that Delaware State University offensive line. They're not allowing Tyleek Bethea any level of comfort in the pocket, and they seem to be making contact with Brian Dallas 2 or 3 yards on Delaware State's side of the line of scrimmage, just getting beat up front.
Low snap, Bethea picks it up, runs right side, throws, and we'll have to wait for the indication. It is going to be complete out there to Trey Gross, but it's going to be short of the first down. Hornets come up 2 yards short on the play. And now the offensive unit moves to the sideline, and the punter comes in.
It's got to be demoralizing, too, for this offense because they understand they're struggling right now.
Jose Romo Martinez, the normal kicker who did punting last year when his brother got hurt, is doing the punting chores here tonight. He'll stand at his 4-yard line to take the snap. And whistles now. And a penalty marker, delay of game against Delaware State. Well, that's just, when you're inside your own 20 and you give up 5 more for a delay of game.
Just mental breakdowns, at the worst possible time. And, these are the type of things that coaches, they have to address in the game. They can't wait for halftime. You got to really get guys' minds back into the game.
Back judge Bilal Abdullah dropped that flag back around the 45-yard line in the secondary. A punt taken and a return down the left sideline. Jawan Moody on the return brings it into Delaware State territory. Finally went out of bounds at the Hornets' 38-yard line.
Moody can't be in a bad mood because he's had a lot of big plays this game. I tell you, great catch for a touchdown in the early part of the second quarter, and He's getting it done on the special teams as well. So right now he's having a pretty good game. I would suspect they're going to keep going to him because he's making it happen.
Time of possession on the game. South Carolina State has held the ball for more than a minute longer than Delaware State has. And the reason for that, they've had some quick scores. They'll run the ball on first down at the 38-yard line and pick up no yardage on it. LeBron Morris wrapped up as he hit the line of scrimmage.
Looked like Moses Dupree was in on that tackle. Looked like Brooks Parker helped him out, too. A couple of Hornets in on that no gain for South Carolina State.
People having to step up here with Brian Cavalcante sidelined on this game. Hornets looking to blitz here on 2nd down and 10, or at least showing blitz to Tyrese Nick. See how the junior adapts to it, drops back, throws, looking end zone. It is going to be incomplete, broken up, good coverage on the play. They were looking for Omar Cummings. And good coverage on the play for the Hornets.
Peeler had to recover. He got beat a little bit on that play.
Rodriguez Thomas, by the way, was the intended receiver on that.
Thomas did get behind Peeler on that play. It was man-to-man coverage, and the ball just maybe a little bit late to its intended target from Nix. But, again, South Carolina State is showing that they got some weapons in that receiver position.
Only the second time this game they've had 3rd down and long facing them. And the Bulldogs to throw. Nick completes it. It's going to be short of the first down, however, as good coverage out there on the far side of the field.
Fourth down.
Shaq Davis on the reception. 4th and 1. Head coach Buddy Pugh looks like he is trying to decide whether or not to keep his offense on the field. In the meantime, Delaware State wants that timeout to make sure they have the right 11 on the play to handle this. And we have that timeout and a break in the action. This is HSRN, the voice of HBCU sports. You're watching MEAC Football on ESPN3.
These are my people.
Across the street from the campus of Delaware track. After today's NASCAR race and another one tomorrow, the Bulldogs have been firing off their own fireworks here tonight. They try for it on 4th and 1, and they're not going to get it. That defense made a big stop right there at the line of scrimmage. As they tried to run the football, and it didn't happen, the Hornets made the stop, and they'll take it over 1st and 10 at their own 29-yard line. The best thing of the day for Delaware State.
And that was just a great effort by Devin Smith to come in there and make contact and stop the running back at the point of attack and allow some of the other Hornets to come in and swarm in that defense. And they did a great job of preventing that first down. And now they put their offense back out on the field.
Hornets will take it from their own 30, 1st and 10. See if this offense can get a bit of a spark off of that defensive effort. Tyleek Bethea not having a very productive night. They stay on the ground, and they'll lose a couple of yards on the handoff to Bryant Dallas. They're going to say he came down at the 29-yard line, and it was not Dallas. It was Richard Harris on the carry. Whoever it was lost a yard.
Right now, Delaware State University is losing the trench warfare against South Carolina State. The 4 defensive linemen for South Carolina State are literally beaten up on that offensive line. They do a good job of applying pressure in the passing game, and they're pretty much clogging up all the run holes against Delaware State's offense.
Hornets with just about 15 yards rushing on the game. Bethea on 2nd down and 11. Has to get this one off with 2 seconds left on the play clock. Finally makes the snap. Tried a shuffle pass, and it will go incomplete. He was being taken down. He tried to shovel it forward to Richard Harris, and it came up short there. So it'll be 3rd down and 11. Harris had some room. He could have picked up some yardage there, too, if they could have gotten it to him.
I don't think that's the way the play was designed. It was just improvising. And, again, when you have to improvise your offense, those are the type of results that you get. Tyleik Bethea is just not getting a whole lot of time back there in the pocket. You can see he's constantly under duress. And that wasn't even really a lateral. He just took a big hit, and I think that was a fumble forward.
Counted as an incomplete pass, and now the officials, Hornets want timeout here. As the bench called the timeout, faced with a 3rd down and 11. They're going to huddle it up here and check out what they were going to go with and see if they want to stay with that play.
Media.
Next Saturday afternoon on HSRN. We'll be in Baltimore. I know that area real well as we go to Morgan State.
Yes, you do. Those are your stomping grounds. That's where the big G Lang was born, and it's always good to go back home with.
We can hear those booms from across the street at Dover Downs Speedway. The celebration tonight after a race. See if the Hornets can hear on 3rd and 10 from their 30-yard line, get some booms going. Bethea steps back, throws. It is broken up. Good defensive play for South Carolina State by Scott Robinson Jr.
Bissett Woodley looked like he was the intended receiver on that play. And I think that was one of those back shoulder passes that, Delaware State just can't seem to execute against not only South Carolina State, but they've struggled to execute that pass the entire season.
Tyleik Bethea now on the game, 4 of 11, 2.9 yards per pass completion. Romo Martinez to punt. Got away a good one. Drives the return man back. He will watch this one bounce. And a good Delaware State roll goes down to about the 11-yard line. That's a good punt. That's good yardage on the kick. But then it got that good roll.
Romo Martinez flipping the field for Delaware State defense. So, if they can muster up another 3 and out and force South Carolina State to punt, there's a strong possibility Del State's offense can get this ball in pretty decent field position. So, again, Del State goes to the well, their defense, and they're going to ask them one more time to step up, play big, and stop Carolina State from picking up a 1st down.
That was a 59-yard punt for Jose Romo Martinez. Tyrese Nick has had a pretty good game here for the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. They'll run the ball on 1st down from their own 11 and work it out to close to the 14-yard line. Just about 3 yards on the carry. LeBron Morris, who's gotten a lot of carries here tonight. And we'll correct that. Omar Cummings was on that carry for the Bulldogs. Hornets with a late 11th man on the field. Almost jumped offside again. Now the Bulldogs look to the sideline on 2nd down and 7.
Can't play the count with your ears. You have to play the count with your eyes.
Nick takes the snap, drops back, pressure there, and it affected that pass as he tried to get that one out to Will Vereen and had to overthrow him as pressure came from the blind side. But he was turned that way to throw the pass, so he saw it coming.
Keenan Black on the coverage. I mean, he really didn't have to even cover on that play. He was the closest person to the football, and that's that converted quarterback to defensive back and also return specialist.
3rd down and 7. The Hornets defense made a stop the last time on South Carolina State. The throw across the middle, picked off by Delaware State. That's DeAndre Blue Eli on the interception for the Hornets. And now we have penalty markers going. I don't know what these markers are going to be about, but the Hornets come up with the turnover. DeAndre Blue Eli. That ball was overthrown, and Eli was there.
Yeah, he was in the right place at the right time, and, he stepped up, made a big catch, and he took not a big hit, but a good dumping on this return here, and he managed to still hold on to the ball. As you can see, Nick's just off target with the intended receiver, and it's kind of a WWE.
That could be the penalty too, as the tackler picked DeAndre Blue Eli up and kind of did the old slam.
Was that off the top rope there, Gary? Or?
Well, no, that was all on the mat. So they're going to step off yardage on that personal foul against South Carolina State. Put the ball on the Bulldogs' 15-yard line. Now, the Hornets need to take advantage of this break.
Can't get any better field position than this. It would be a shame if they didn't get it into the end zone.
The interception and then field position after the 15-yard penalty. Bethea hands it off on first down. No, he doesn't. He threw, and it is going to be, what are they saying, complete. Down at the 6-yard line. Fake me. I thought he handed it off, but he threw it instead and made a completion.
That was a great catch by Trey Gross.
Yeah.
If they review this play, it looks like he may not have caught that ball. So they're going to try to get a play off as quickly as possible.
And I think we're getting a challenge from the Bulldogs.
I think they saw the replay.
Well, they called timeout. Whether or not they'll make the challenge here during the timeout.
Timeout. South Carolina State.
South Carolina State calling that timeout. That's their first. 6:47 left in the first half here in Dover, Delaware.
Stand up and make some noise!
So the replay we saw looked pretty close as far as whether he had control of that ball. But Trey Gross had to work off of the defender there and tried to make that catch and did it. Hard to see where they're showing a replay and we're looking from the end zone angle.
You know, it's really hard to tell whether or not he had control of that. The ball can hit the ground, but you have to have control of the ball. And the angle that I think that they have right now that they're reviewing is inconclusive. This is probably going to stand if they review it.
Well, there's no review, apparently, as they come to the line of scrimmage here after that short timeout called by the Bulldogs. And now, South Carolina State sideline. Are they asking for a challenge?
If they do, I think they're going to lose this challenge.
And it looks like that's what's happening here as they came to the line of scrimmage. The sideline over there for South Carolina State motioning again, unless they just took another timeout because the officials have not come to the sideline to look at the replay monitor. So the Bulldogs called another timeout, used two of them before Delaware State could get that play off from the 6-yard line, the 7-yard line. Well, they are going to review it here as we now see the equipment has been taken out to referee Antroy Singleton. Singleton gets a look at it. And he'll probably get as many angles as they can provide to him. The one we saw from the end zone, and we'll see it again here in the booth. And I'll tell you what, if the word inconclusive works, I think that's what we have. Hard to tell, and it has to be conclusive. Another angle doesn't even show what anybody would want to be able to see. This angle from the sideline, the near sideline here.
It could go either way, but it looks like because there's really no definitive evidence to overturn this call, I would assume that they're just going to have to let it ride. But we'll see.
The Hornets need some kind of a spark here. Maybe the fireworks across the street lit a spark in them. But certainly that interception by DeAndre Blue Eli provided a spark for Delaware State. And then with the tackle, the body slam on the tackle of Blue Eli and the personal foul penalty, picked up the additional 50 yards, moved the ball 15 yards, moved the ball from the South Carolina State 30-yard line up to the 15. Now we'll wait and see if that catch by Trey Gross will stand up. And a couple of looks we've had, there's nothing conclusive that we can tell to make the officials overturn their on-field decision, which was a catch.
They're taking enough time for somebody to get a college degree out there.
Now, this is a 4-year institution, so we can work with that. The official's still looking at the monitor they take out to them.
I'll tell you, about another 2 more minutes, it'll be spring again.
No, you know winter in Dover, Delaware. We haven't had that yet.
Oh, man.
We just got to fall this week.
See, sometimes you can judge the length of these calls by the seasons.
Started the week here in Dover in the 90s, and now we're down into seasonal temperatures, and the officials have made their decision. We'll see if we can pick it up. And they are going to say that there's nothing conclusive there. No. They're going to say it's incomplete, and they put the ball back at the 15-yard line. So, the appeal by South Carolina State is upheld. The Hornets get the incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Talik Bethea with 2 backs in the backfield here on 2nd and 10 from the South Carolina State 15-yard line. They fake the handoff. Bethea throws the ball tipped at the line of scrimmage, trying to get it to Trey Gross down there at the 1-yard line, and a marker goes down at the line of scrimmage. South Carolina State indicating they believe it's against Delaware State. And it's in that area where it's usually holding, isn't it?
Intended target on that play was Kawana Colley, and he just ran a post pattern, but he couldn't get that defender off of his back.
10-yard penalty. Puts it back to the 25-yard line. Still 2nd down. It's 2nd down and 20 for Delaware State.
Ball on the penalty is 2nd and 20. Ball on the Bulldog 25-yard line.
So just when you get some luck going for you, then it goes bad as the catch was overturned and then a 10-yard penalty. They'll see if they can get their good fortune back here.
There's not much wind, but they got to be careful about being taken out of field goal position.
Bethea now throwing downfield. It is incomplete. Down there inside the 5-yard line, around the 2-yard line. Lizette Woodley, the intended receiver. They had good coverage on Woodley, and he tried to get up in the air to make that catch and was unable to do so.
Delaware State just sending their receivers vertically, Gary, and just looking for them to make big plays against the defenders. There's really no mystery, no tricks, no deception to what's going on. It's just basically mano-a-mano, and we're looking for the receivers to beat defenders.
They have some receivers, though, who have the speed and the moves that if they catch a short pass can pick up the yards after the catch. It's 3rd and 20. Bethea into the middle, and it is incomplete. Threw it just a little bit too far in front of his intended receiver, Angelo Gonzalez. So now it's going to be 4th down and 20, and they will send out the field goal unit for the 2nd time. Now, the first time they were looking at a 54-yard attempt, and they faked it and punted. This time it will be a 42-yard attempt for the Hornets. Jose Romo Martinez to attempt the field goal. The holder is his brother, the regular punter, Fidel Romo Martinez, who has not done any punting tonight. Here's the kick. Has the distance. And it is good.
The kick is good.
42-yard field goal gets Delaware State on the board finally here. With 6:52 left in the first half and a Hornet player injured on the field goal. So we have a break in the action. We're going to take this time out. You're watching MEAC Football on ESPN3, and you're listening to HSRN, the voice of HBCU sports.
Ceremony is center. The two
And a new day will break. Yes, these are my people.
And Mike Walker in Dover, Delaware, for this game between Delaware State and South Carolina State. A disturbing stat if you're a Hornet fan. Those are the first points, that field goal, the first point scored by Delaware State since the second quarter of the Howard game back on September 21st. They were shut out last week at North Carolina A&T and held scoreless in the second half of that game against Howard. So it'll be Jose Roman Martinez. No, it isn't, to kick off. Hornets using a different kickoff man here, but it's taken at the 10-yard line. Nice open field tackle on the return man, Jawan Moody.
Jawan Moody on the kickoff return.
It was Jake Bridell doing the kicking off for Delaware State. He has taken over the kicking chores since back in the, I'd say the Lincoln game. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs from their own 18-yard line.
It's 1st and 10. Ball on the
Interception on the last possession by South Carolina State set Delaware State up with great field position. They failed to break the end zone for a touchdown, but they did come away with some points. And, it allows them at least to stay motivated because, again, comebacks start with, your first score.
And DeAndre blew Eli's interception, just the third of the season for this Delaware State defense. Now they've moved the ball up to the 22-yard line. Sometimes we get told why. Illegal substitution penalty on Delaware State makes it 1st and 5 for South Carolina State. And the handoff in the backfield, the runner ran right by a tackler who was in quickly on the play. Omar Cummings on the play. Picked up 2 to make it 2nd down and 3 from the Bulldogs' 25-yard line.
That Del State defense, they're making great contact, but they got to remember to wrap up after they make contact.
Bulldogs come to the line of scrimmage, set in, and some players almost into the three-point stance, and then they come out of it and look to the sideline for the play. On 2nd and 3, Tyrese Nick fakes the handoff. He'll run with it, and he is hit in the backfield and just got back to the line of scrimmage. Pontrell Gray, number 59 for Delaware State, on that hit in the backfield to make it 3rd down and a long 3.
Gray, who's right in the middle, replacing Brian Cavalcante. Those are big shoes to fill, but he stepped up on that play.
Hornets bouncing around, showing blitz here as the Bulldogs come to the line of scrimmage early, and they keep moving that defense so that Nick doesn't get a good look at what's happening. Short pass. It's going to lose yard, come back just to the 25-yard line. It'll bring up 4th and 3 for the South Carolina State Bulldogs, and this Hornet defense has done its job now 3 possessions in a row.
I think they've done their job, quite frankly, the entire season, Gary. And again, they're going up against some really formidable opponents who have good offensive teams and strategies, so can't expect them to always pitch these shutouts. But again, the offense is what's kind of been struggling for the first quarter, so to speak, of this season. And hopefully they're starting to get their legs up under them in this game.
Keenan Black stands at the Hornets' 45-yard line to receive this punt. A low snap actually bounced, handled well by the punter. Black will watch this one go to the sideline and go out of bounds. And they'll say it went out at the Delaware State 43-yard line. So they'll come out with some very good field position here and plenty of time left in the first half, just about 4.5 minutes. So the defense pulling up here in the second quarter and doing its job extremely well. 2 stops on South Carolina State with short yardage and an interception. For Delaware State, time for the offense to put something together. Talik Bethea leads his team back to the field. They had their huddle at the sideline there after the exchange. And they go directly to the offensive set, single back in the backfield. They'll go to him, and it is on the carry around the right side, Bryant Dallas. Dallas inside the 45-yard line of South Carolina State to the 42, and a first down for the Hornets.
He started off looking to maybe find a hole inside the tackles. Gary didn't like what he saw. Bounced it outside. There was no defense on the edge there, and once he got out in space, it was just a matter of picking up as many yards as he could. Did a great job by Bryant Dallas.
Dallas gets the Hornets a first down. Not many of them for Delaware State in this game so far, so precious few. Give it to Dallas again. Tries to run between guard and tackle on the right side, and there wasn't much working there. Got a yard up to the 41.
The O-line for Delaware State is really kind of struggling sustaining their blocks, Gary. They're allowing the defenders, especially the defensive line, to get off of those blocks and put arms on the running back, slowing them down to allow for some of that defensive pursuit to get involved in the tackle. The O-line has to remain disciplined and sustain their blocks, control the defense.
Initial indication was that he got a yard, but they set it down right at the original line of scrimmage, and it's 2nd and 10, but not anymore. They go to the wide receiver, Angelo Gonzalez. First down Hornets to the 30-yard line of South Carolina State, and Gonzalez is hurt. And he is in some extreme discomfort down there from his reaction. He got hit pretty hard after he made the catch.
And this is a shame because this was a guy who they had high hopes for. They really saw him as a playmaker, and I hate to see him writhing, what appears to be in pain, on the floor. He needs to be in the game, and I hope it's just a cramp and nothing serious.
So the young wide receiver, a redshirt sophomore, his hometown Homestead, Florida. Transfer from Coffeyville Community College out in the Kansas Jayhawk Community JUCO Conference. The Red Ravens out there, and he came to Delaware State. He now limps to the sideline. Looks back toward the field. They'll take him over to the bench, and the trainers will work on him, and we'll see if he returns to the game here this evening. But he got the first down for Delaware State there at the Bulldogs' 30-yard line. Talik Bethea has completed a couple of passes now on this series. Bethea out of the gun. High snap. Hands it off. Caught in the backfield, though. Bryant Dallas never had a chance. And
the defenders aren't really respecting Talik Bethea's ability to run the ball because they're supposed to literally check and hold just to see if he's going to hand the ball off. But he's not a true run threat at this point, so they're just going to keep teeing off on the running back until Talik Bethea makes them respect his run game.
That's a loss of 3 to make it 2nd and 13. Delaware State puts 2 receivers wide on the left, 1 on the right side. Dallas in there to block, and the ball tipped by a rusher. Wanted to try to get that one out in space to Jordan Hanna, but it was tipped at about in the backfield and fell incomplete. Makes it 3rd and 13. A couple of tipped balls here tonight for Talik Bethea.
Again, the offense is just continuously struggling, Gary. They're giving great field position by the defense, and they're showing a little bit of promise, on one good pass reception, but again, they're still struggling to be consistent in any facet of the game, be it run or pass.
Big 3rd down play here for Delaware State. Pick up some yardage, hopefully, for the first down. They're going to go deep, and it is overthrown. Downfield, it was Jordan Hanna. Wide open down the left side, but threw it about 5 yards too far for Hanna to get up to it.
And that's the result of all that pressure throughout the game. One of those opportunities where he could have just gathered himself and placed that ball exactly where it needed to be. But, I don't know if he felt the pressure or thought he was going to get hit. He got rid of it, and it was an inaccurate pass.
Bethea was not intended to be the starting quarterback this year.
No, they were going to literally strategically work him in, and this is a guy who probably was going to see some action, in relief throughout the entire season, but they were looking at him for the future, and he's thrown into the fire because of an injury early in the season at UD to Shane Smith.
Yeah, Shane Smith broke his left hand in the University of Delaware game in the first half. Bethea came in, did pretty well, and then had a great game, second game of the season against Lincoln. It's been tough going for the true freshman since then. Hornets will punt here on 4th down and 18. South Carolina State dropped back in punt formation. The punter held the ball for a while as if he was thinking, well, if they're going to drop back far enough, maybe I'll run with it. But Jose Romo Martinez finally hit the short punt, and that's all he needed to drop the ball at the South Carolina State at the 13-yard line after the fair catch. So Bethea got in because of the injury to Shane Smith. Smith has now been practicing with the team. He was not practicing before. It's awful hard as a quarterback, and you can explain it, to handle a football, even with a cast on your non-throwing hand.
Yeah, especially Shane Smith is a more mobile quarterback. He's a true double threat, so that broken hand is going to impact his game differently.
Tyrese Nick looked like he wanted to throw right side, couldn't find anybody open, pulled it down, ran with the football, and picked up some yardage out to the Bulldogs' 17-yard line. That's a gain of about 3. Make it 2nd and 7. Looking down at the sideline, Shane Smith is dressed for this game. If they decide they want to go back to him, he still has a cast on that left hand. Appropriately enough to match his uniform, it is red. Here's Nick taking it downfield. The ball bobbled and couldn't pull it in. Out of bounds, incomplete. That was a good attempt by Shaq Davis, but he was running full steam, and that ball just bounced around his hands.
It's a good throw by Nick, and you can see, Devin Smith, give him a little bit of credit.
Yeah,
again,
he got his hand in there.
Hitting that receiver and forcing that bobbled, which is going to result in that incomplete pass.
Give credit to Smith on that, as he got his hand in there and helped to break up that pass on 3rd and 7. Again, throwing, and it is complete. And a first down for South Carolina State into double coverage. But DeMontrez Burrows pulled it down, got up over the defenders, and made the catch.
I think he got that ball in between Peeler and Niebauer. And again, a good pass by Nix.
At the Bulldogs' 48-yard line, they go short on the pass, and it is complete, taken down right after making the catch, though, and a gain of only 3 yards. They'll take it into Delaware State territory out to the Hornets' 49-yard line. And that was Traquan DuBose on the catch. He goes out wide on the left side. Another receiver there. Nick throws into the middle, and it is incomplete, broken up, and now a late penalty markers come in, as the intended receiver was Omar Cummings, the running back, and late flags.
I don't know if they're going to hit Pontrell Gray.
He got there early. Yep. Looking at the replay, we could see Gray got there early, so they're going to call pass interference. It just disturbed the fans here that the marker was thrown so late. And it really showed up well from the end zone view that we got on that replay. 5-yard penalty. Puts the ball about where it would have been had he made the catch. The Delaware State 47-yard line, but a first down for the Bulldogs. Nick throwing downfield. Coverage fell down. Shaq Davis was all alone, but it was thrown too far for him. Hornets got a break there as the defender fell down. Had that ball been on the mark, South Carolina State would have had another touchdown.
Again, that was Blue Eli. He's got an interception in today's game, but he got beat on that particular play, and had that ball been thrown just a little bit better, South Carolina State might be celebrating right now.
2nd down and 10. Nick, a little pressure in the backfield. He's going to scramble around, falls down back at the 43-yard line. And that will count as a sack for the Delaware State defense.
Montrell Gray making amends for that pass interference a little earlier in this possession, just forcing Nick's back into the pocket, and Nick losing his feet, falling down, losing big yards on that play.
We have just 3 seconds left in the first half, and the Bulldogs used their last timeout after that play.
I guess the only thing they're really good for is either they're going to kneel down or Hail Mary.
Unless you want to really catch the defense by surprise and go with a draw play up the middle.
With 3 seconds, I think they just want to be conservative and protect the 14-point lead that they've amassed here in the first half.
Is a Hail Mary conservative?
I would say, well,
yeah, you know, even if it's intercepted, it's seldom returned.
Isn't that funny? A Hail Mary is probably more liberal than it is conservative.
Yeah. You're just throwing the ball up for grabs down there and hoping your guy gets it.
So not the way Delaware State was hoping things would go here in the first half, Gary, but you know what? They're still in the game. They got a great defense. The offense's confidence appears to be strengthening with every possession. Again, they just need to put together a couple of drives. The defense needs to remain stout like it's been playing throughout the first half, and Del State still might have an opportunity to win one here at home.
They've reset the game clock, added 4 seconds. We're down to 7 seconds left. Nick throwing to the end zone, Hail Mary. Hornets almost intercepted, couldn't pull it in, broke up the pass, and that is the end of the first half. They'll go to the locker room. Delaware State trails by 14, 17-3 to South Carolina State. They'll go to the locker room. It's halftime. This is HSRN, the voice of HBCU sports, and you're watching MEAC Football. It's on ESPN3.
On Altima. Impossibly smart.
Rookie.
DELottery.com to find a sports pick location near you. Delaware Lottery. Want to play? Must be 21 or older. Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield of Delaware is proud to support DSU athletics.
By 14, and you'd think it was a whole lot more when you look statistically. 257 yards of offense, total offense for South Carolina State, 71 for Delaware State, but they're still down by 14 and, in theory, in this game.
Right. You know, again, it's just a matter of Delaware State's offense, Gary, finding some rhythm in their scheme and sustaining drives. They got a lot of weapons. They got some big wide receivers, and, you know, they got some good running backs. It just seems as if, you know, the team just isn't really gelling at this point blank period. They just got to find a way to establish something that they can rely on, be it the run game or the short pass game.
Tyrese Nick, South Carolina State quarterback, is the leading rusher in the game with 77 net yards on 9 carries. His longest, the 49-yarder that opened up the game for South Carolina State from their own 1-yard line, brought it out to midfield.
Yeah, and he ran right in the middle where Brian Cavalcante usually sits and holds court. And he's not in today's game. I think he's a little banged up from his effort at A&T. So he's been replaced by Pontrell Gray. And Gray's done a pretty good job in the middle of that field. And he's still got his other 2 partners in crime, Alexander Lozano and Brooks Parker at that linebacker position. Defensively, Delaware State, even though they've given up a lot of yards, the defense has kept them in the game. The offense just needs to make a contribution.
As the first half ended, we had a scuffle between players. Delaware State was hit with the unsportsmanlike conduct call. They'll kick off from their 20-yard line. And this one angles toward the sideline. It is out of bounds. That is illegal procedure.
Rydell's kick goes out of bounds. Penalty flag on the play.
Went out of bounds at about the 30-yard line or so. And that's... Now, see what will happen. Looks like a re-kick.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say this is going to be a re-kick.
And it'll be from the 15. 5-yard illegal procedure penalty against the Hornets.
Now, I know he wants to put a foot into it, but, we got to aim that thing and try to keep it in the field of play.
Yeah.
Get a lot of air underneath it, right? So you give your defense an opportunity to get down there and to be close to the ball when it's fielded by the returner.
Tyrese Nick for South Carolina State, 7 of 16 passing in the first half, 1 interception, 119 yards, 1 interception, 2 touchdowns. Talik Bethea for Delaware State, 5 of 18, 44 yards passing, no touchdowns.
It's kind of been a sloppy passing game for both teams, but Nick's has done a good job of hitting some receivers, and they've done an even better job of coming up and making big plays. So right now, Del State is literally losing this game because of 2 big plays.
All right, the officials have placed the ball at midfield rather than a re-kick. So South Carolina State will take over starting the second half right at the 50-yard line.
It's 1st and 10 at midfield.
And it is Tyrese Nick taking the ball on the shotgun, throwing left side, complete. Plenty of running room. Goes past tacklers down to the 20, the 15, 10. Touchdown, South Carolina State. That's Wolverine on the reception and the touchdown for the Bulldogs. And on the first play from scrimmage of the second half, South Carolina State strikes pay dirt.
He started off in motion on the right side of the field. He motioned behind the quarterback. Nick's hit him kind of out of a bubble screen to the left side of the field. He broke 1 tackle and showed you he had jets and literally outran all of Del State's defensive backs.
The Bulldogs opening up that lead a little bit more here. The extra point, Dylan Bredesen. You got it. You're right through the uprights. And so just 11 seconds into the second half, South Carolina State puts up a touchdown and makes it 24-3.
Might be the quickest scoring drive I think I've seen this season. 1 pass, 1 play, touchdown, 11 seconds off the clock.
And just that simple screen, sidestep, broke 1 tackle, and then outran everybody else to the end zone. Wolverine with great speed. At 10 catches coming into the game. That's his first of the game. 11 catches on the season, 173 yards, and his first touchdown of this season. Hornets going to try to do something here. And that kick goes out of bounds, and that is illegal procedure on South Carolina State. Went out of bounds at about the Delaware State 13-yard line. Now, I never found out why the ball was put on the 50-yard line. They'll put it on the Delaware State 35. So apparently there was a 15-yard penalty on the play that moved the ball up to the 50.
Well,
we're being told there was an unsportsmanlike conduct call, and that moved the ball to the 50-yard line. And well, that's all that South Carolina State had to move it then, was 50 yards. Now Tyleek Bethea trying to get something going for this Hornets offense. Hands it off in the backfield. Bryant Dallas going to be hit in the backfield as the play didn't develop well. Just kind of stutter-stepped on the handoff. It was not clean, and that let that defensive line get into the backfield.
Yeah, the defensive line is just doing a good job of evading Delaware State's offensive line, disengaging from the blocks. The O-line hasn't really done a good job of sustaining their blocks, and they're not giving the running backs good lanes or good looks to find any wide backs. So they're just being overwhelmed in the trenches right now.
2nd down and 12. 2-yard loss on that play. Bethea from the shotgun. And hands off again. Dallas slips past up to the line of scrimmage, broke through the offensive line, got up to the line of scrimmage, started to run laterally, and then was pulled down. Makes it 3rd down and 12. No gain on that play.
Seems like Delaware State's been operating with 3rd plus for the entire first half, and they're continuing here in the second half. Just haven't seen a whole lot of 3rd and 2s, but I've seen quite a few 3rd and 12s.
Have double receivers split out on each side of the line of scrimmage. Bethea quick into the middle, complete, and it is going to be on second effort. They may have that first down. After the catch, he was hit about 4 yards short of the line of the mark. Kawana Kali kept the feet driving and took 2 tacklers out there and got the first down at the Hornets' 46. Great effort. Kawana Kali with his first catch of the night. Hornets' leading receiver. He's the 4th leading receiver in the MEAC, and he showed why on that play. The yards after the catch.
Again, just overwhelmed at the point of attack.
Caught in the backfield again as that defense pours in, and Bryant Dallas into negative yardage on that play. Again, a 2-yard loss, 2nd down and 12.
Defensive lineman Roderick Perry almost beat the snap back there. Again, they're just really beating Delaware State in the trenches.
Doubly frustrating for Coach Rod Milstead, not only as the head coach of the team, but as an offensive lineman. That's really his area of specialty, and he focuses a little bit on that line.
You better believe that he's constantly peeking over there during practice, just seeing if guys who are playing this position are playing it right.
Bethea to the air, complete. Broken tackle again. The receiver hit immediately after making the catch. Jordan Hanna over on the far side of the field, pulling it in at the 48. Hit and still managed to keep on his feet. Fought his way up to the 50-yard line. So that's a gain of 7 for Delaware State on that play. Brings up 3rd and 6.
But they're doing a good job of just getting that ball out into the flat and allowing, I think that might have been Karan Eileen on that catch, to just pick up as many yards as he possibly could.
So Bethea from the gun here steps up. Pocket collapsed quickly, made a short pass completion. First down, Hornets fighting for yardage on the play. Bryant Dallas, the back over on that left side, just a short pass. He got hit right, or sidestepped right after making the catch, and then dragged a couple of tacklers out to first down territory to the 41 of South Carolina State.
Got by with a little help from his friends. Again, Karan Eileen kind of just helping him fall forward and pick up additional yards. But Talik Bethea stepping up in the pocket, making it look like he was getting ready to run. And when the defense focused on him, he just found him out in the flats.
Seeing good second effort by the receivers after making the catch and getting hit. And that was a snap. Well, we got downfield, a little bit of a tussle. The snap.
Looked like Talik Bethea was going to run that ball, but he slipped
Yep.
And ended up losing 2 yards on that play.
Yeah, an odd play, too. It looked like at the last moment he decided he didn't want to run with the ball, tried to pull up, and the feet went out from underneath of him. But downfield, a little bit of a scuffle. The officials broke it up, no penalty marker.
Tyleik Bethea is not a natural runner. This is a guy who really focuses on the passing aspect of his game, and I think he'll become a better runner. He's going to have to in this offense.
2nd down and 12. Bethea rolls right side, throws a little out, completes it.
That looks
And
like
that's Bissett Woodley on the right side, ridden out of bounds at the 36-yard line of South Carolina State. They're going to mark it at the 35. And that was a good gain on that play of 8 yards. It'll bring up 3rd down and 4.
Last couple of plays, it looks like they're starting to roll Bethea left and right. They don't want him in the pocket anymore. I guess they don't trust the ability of the offensive line to protect him, so they're allowing him to isolate. They want him to roll, find one receiver. If he doesn't like what he sees, to tuck and run.
This is an important 3rd down for the Hornets. Bethea quick into the middle, complete, and a 1st down for Delaware State on Corin Aline. Had to make a dive for it, but came up with it at the 27 of South Carolina State.
Kawan Eileen, the freshman brother of Bryson Eileen, guy who played here last year, one of the more explosive offensive players. So, here at Delaware State University, they keep it in the family.
Hornets with a bit of a drive here, trying to get it across into the end zone. Just short of the red zone here at the Bulldogs' 27-yard line. And it's Bethea handing off on 1st down, and that running game into the middle is not making it here in the second half, as Bryant Dallas will lose a yard out to the 28.
Linebacker B.J. Davis doing a good job at his outside linebacker position of just firing into that backfield and making contact with Brian Dallas behind the line of scrimmage and bringing him down for a short loss. They have a sixth sense about this Delaware State offense, and you can see them risking it on defense and coming up big.
Bethea from the gun. Pump fake. Pulls it down. Almost got sacked, and as he was going down, the arm came forward. Are they going to rule the sack, or are they going to give him the incomplete pass? And it looks like an incomplete pass. He did have a receiver very close to that area.
3rd down.
So even though the ball did not make it back to the line of scrimmage, there's no intentional grounding because there was a receiver in the area. 3rd and 11.
Again, Delaware State going vertical when, it's really a short passing game that has been the strength of their offense on this particular possession. So they still just might want to stick to what's working as opposed to trying to pick up much-needed points.
2 receivers are split out on each side of the ball, near side hash mark. Bethea quick out, complete. It's going to be short of the 1st down, however, as Kawana Kali draws a crowd after making that catch.
4th down for Delaware State.
A gain of 6. It'll be 4th down. And now the question is, do they try to pick up the 1st down with about 5 yards to go, or do they go for 3 here? The offensive unit is still on the field. And the special teamers are not gathered around.
It's 4th and 5 at the 22.
Now the play clock is down to 6 seconds. The fans yelling quickly, snap the ball. And Delaware State's going to have to call timeout to avoid the delay of game penalty. Just took too long to get that play together.
Timeout.
Yeah, and you just got to figure out what the miscommunication was about because they knew the situation. It's a 4th down. You can't get hit with a delay of game penalty. That information should be in there as early as possible.
Breaking the action, a timeout on the field. We'll take the timeout as well. This is HSRN, the voice of HBCU sports. You're watching. State with fourth down and 5. And the offensive unit on the field at the 22-yard line of South Carolina State. That's a big decision by the coaching staff here. Bethea throws into the middle. Contact, no flag, as the intended receiver was Corin Aline. He got bumped before the ball got there, and there was no call.
Yeah, he got bumped, but again, he just couldn't hold the momentum that he gained. He got knocked down to the floor, and at the end of the day, we just needed to come up with a big play. And again, can't really rely on the officials to sustain drives.
Rookie.
Gary Lang, Mike Walker in Dover, Delaware, where the Bulldogs of South Carolina State, now with the ball 1st and 10 from their own 22-yard line. They run the ball right side. That got a couple of yards before the ball carrier was dragged down from behind. LeBron Morris, who had a pretty good first half running, 5 carries, 30 yards for Morris in that first half.
Lozano, linebacker, in on the tackle. Doing a good job of wrapping them up from behind. And that defense, again, doing a good job of keeping most of the action in front of them.
Gain of 3 on the play. Here's the quarterback, Nick. Ball came out of his hand. It's ruled a fumble, and the Hornets have it. And his ball, I don't think if they look at it again, they're going to think that his arm was coming forward. He brought it up the pass, and the ball came out of his hand.
Christian Johnson doing his best interpretation of Walter Payton. I mean, he's not somebody who I expect to carry the ball after he picks it up. But he got his moment. They live for this stuff.
Yeah, linemen love to get a ball to run with. Got a couple of yards. Hornets will have 1st and goal 10 from the Bulldogs' 13-yard line. And the officials' timeout, they're going to look at it again here. But the quick replay we saw right after the play, and my initial thought was his hand was coming up. The ball came out of his hand. It was not a throwing motion. We did get one quick replay look, and again, his arm was coming up, but he was not in a throwing motion when that ball came out of his hand. We'll see it again.
Yep.
Arm coming up, and the ball came out.
That's clearly a fumble. So Delaware State University is going to retain possession of this ball unless there's another angle that we haven't seen yet.
Well, I've seen it from here, and I've seen it from 2 angles on the screen here that we're able to see, and I haven't changed my opinion, and it's not even close. But the referee Antroy Singleton and the field judge Tim Hedgepeth are down with the replay equipment. And the odd thing is, they're not even looking at a screen as I'm watching them down there on the field. I think they saw what they needed to see very quickly.
Yeah. This one is going to favor Delaware State University.
The question may be on the spot of the ball. Was it picked up cleanly? Did his knee touch the ground? Where did he get tackled? That might be the issue.
Again, you can see him winding up to get ready to release the pass, and the ball comes out, and no one gets possession of it, and it's scooped up.
Yeah, knee not close to the ground. It's 1st down, Delaware State. They got the fumble recovery. That's 2 turnovers by South Carolina State here this evening.
Christian Johnson, Johnny on the spot.
Official review, the call stands. It'll be Hornets football.
So the Hornets will have it at the South Carolina State 13-yard line.
We've seen Del State in this same situation earlier in the game where they got a turnover, great field position deep inside the red zone, and they failed to come away with a touchdown. They got to get pay dirt on this possession.
Quick out, left side, to the 10, the 5, and out of bounds before he can get to the end zone, and I think that's Quanakali. We have a flag for possibly a late hit. Quanakali took the ball down to around the 2 or 3 yard line, knocked out of bounds, and then there was contact way out of bounds, so we may see the ball moved up a little bit closer to the goal line.
Nice job of Quanakali catching that ball out in space and trying to see if he could leap to that pylon, but he got hit by about 2 or 3 defenders from South Carolina State.
Touchdown.
First down for Delaware State. It's 1st and goal. And they're going to have the ball at the just inside the 2 yard line. Hornets, handoff, straight ahead, and touchdown, Delaware State. Bryant Dallas looked like he was stopped outside of the goal line, but managed to fall forward, extend, and get the ball into the end zone.
He just lowered his center of gravity, Gary, and drove those little pistons of his legs and picked up the necessary inches to get over this goal line.
So Jose Romo Martinez comes in to kick the extra point for Delaware State. And see if they can pull a little bit closer here, back into where they're just a couple of scores down. The snap to Fidel Romo Martinez. And Jose makes it good. Well, we have 5 minutes, 51 seconds left in the third period here, and a good kick by Fidel Romo Martinez. Astor Pizza and Grill in Dover is a proud supporter.
That last possession should help kind of bolster the confidence of the offense that they can move the ball if they just get it to their playmakers. And they kept it very simple on, that very short possession of 13 plus yards. Just getting it to a playmaker and allowing him to do something.
Best scoring drive of the night for Delaware State. 2 plays, 13 yards.
Yep.
What else? What do you have to do? You get the ball down there. You need to punch it into the end zone.
And I don't know if they necessarily punched it in, but they, pushed it in. It's nonetheless a big score for Delaware State University. Again, now we just need the defense to step up one more time and do what they've done the entire season, which is to stop an offense and give our offense another opportunity to put some points on the board.
Hornets have 3 kickers on the roster, one who does the kicking off, one who does field goals and extra points, and a third who's a punter. Jake Burdell drives that one down to the 3-yard line, and a good tackle in the open field by Andrew Reese on the return by Traquan Dubose.
Andrew Reese, he had a big game against Howard University. I mean, he came up and made some really good run stops out of that defensive back position. I mean, he's definitely one of those guys who lays the wood, and he showed you how or why he's known for that on that last play, because that was a great open field tackle on that kickoff.
Timeout. This is HR.
Presenting the Nissan Altima. Impossibly smart.
Lang and Mike Walker at Delaware State University in Dover, Delaware. The Hornets just got a touchdown, their first since the game against Howard 3 weeks ago, September 21st, in the first half of that game. Earlier, with the field goal, they got their first points since that game. There's a handoff on first down and a run out to the 20-yard line for South Carolina State, and that is LeBron Morris carrying the football. 2-yard gain. Well, maybe 3. If the previous line of scrimmage was the 17. Second down, 7 yards to go. Tyrese Nick. His team has had a little bit of bad luck here in this second half. You'll see if he can change that for the Bulldogs. Nick Pressure coming. Ball batted down. Big rush. And I'm trying to...
Tavares Sample out of his defensive back position, again, driving hard off the corner, got airborne, and essentially put 2 paws on that. Look at that. That's just a great effort by him to leave his feet, find that ball at the highest point, and just block it.
A Dover native, a transfer out of Slippery Rock University.
It's 3rd and 7 at the 20.
Sample loves playing at home here, and he showed it on that play. Here it is, 3rd down and 7. They'll go down toward the sideline. The pass is complete. Pulled in at the 33-yard line for South Carolina State. They'll have a first down. A little bit of a dust off back around the line of scrimmage as well. The officials break that up quickly.
Nick with the good pass out to the flats to pick up the first down. Again, he wasn't rattled by that block or some of the hits that he's taken earlier in this game. This is the type of guy who's used to taking a pounding. He's a mobile running quarterback. So he's a physical guy. He stayed in the pocket, found his receiver out in the flat, and picked up enough for a first down.
Nick has a lone back in the backfield. He hands it off to Morris. Morris ahead for about 6 out to the 39-yard line. Yeah, they're going to put it at the 38. That'll be a 5-yard pickup.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of yards for South Carolina State on that 1st and 10 situation, tackled by Devin Smith to prevent any more yards.
No huddle, and the Bulldogs quickly back to the line of scrimmage. Fake the handoff, quarterback draw through the middle, and dragged down from behind. Taken at the Delaware State 45-yard line. He caught the defense on a really good play fake.
Yeah, Nick doing a good job of exploiting the middle part of that Delaware State defense. You know, Cavalcante's not in the house, so, you know, no one's really afraid to run it really in between those guards where Cavalcante usually rules.
Nick picked up good yardage on that. He's the leading rusher in the game. 1st and 10 from the Delaware State 47-yard line. Nick from the shotgun still. Gives on first down to Morris. And LeBron Morris just back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it.
Moses Dupree doing his interpretation of the WWE wrestling slam on that particular play. Doing a good job with the remainder of the Delaware State defense of just squeezing that offensive line for South Carolina State and not giving the running back any holes to run through.
There's Nick. Pressure in his face on first down, throwing left side. And coming up with the ball is Will Vereen. Good for about 5 yards. 3rd down and 5.
Nick again with a nice tightrope out there to Wolverine. And Vereen just showing you how strong his hands are, because he caught that with his hands. That wasn't one of those body catches.
Yeah.
Even with the hit, he maintained possession.
Big 3rd down here. Nick, pressure coming again, throwing into the middle. It is. We're going to wait for the officials' call on this. And they're going to rule that it was complete at the 30-yard line of Delaware State. A diving catch through traffic. There were about 4 defenders around, and Nick threw a strike.
Right, and there's no time to review it. I don't know. It looked like he might have caught that ball.
And that pass out to the right side, incomplete. The officials let that play begin, even though the markers on the far sideline had not been set. They could have stopped that.
Right, but, you know, at the end of the day, they're just allowing the flow of the game to be exactly what it is. Don't want to alter the plays, you know, as they're occurring, and I'm not going to fault them for that one.
2nd down and 10. As the Delaware State defense got back into position quickly, Nick faked that he was calling a snap there and then turned and looked to the sideline. And a long count again. And penalty marker on the snap. So that's going to cost South Carolina State 5 yards. We'll look for that illegal procedure step off, false start, or whatever it was. But when they stop the play like that, you know who it's going against.
Delaware State being very aggressive defensively, Gary. They're sending somebody on every play, be it a linebacker a cornerback. You got to be defensively. You got to be able to make one-on-one tackles. Done a great job making some of these initial tackles, and that's allowed him to pick up some big yards, after those missed tackles.
2nd down and 15 after that whistle. Fake the handoff. It's Nick. Tripped at the line of scrimmage. Keeps his feet. Still on his feet inside the 20-yard line. Down to around the 10-yard line of Delaware State. Man, what a good runner he is. He got hit as he crossed the line of scrimmage. Looked like he was going to trip there. Managed to keep his balance and pick up that extra yardage.
Just stepped through a would-be tackler for Delaware State University. Like you said, maintained his balance. Not only finished the run off strong, but picked up enough yards to put them deep in Del State's red zone.
At the Hornets' 11-yard line, 1st and 10. Fake the handoff, turns around, throws a quick pass, complete, down to the 10-yard line. They're going to get a yard on that play, but quick recovery by Devin Smith. Enough times we've said that name tonight for the Hornets as he put a hit on DePrince Haynes.
He wasn't fooled by all that play action and misdirection, and he maintained his keys and his reads, and he was right in position to make a big hit.
I'm going to say 2 yards gained down to the 9, 2nd and 8. Nick. Defense jumped offside. Pass to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown, South Carolina State, and a marker thrown in the end zone. Now we have an official indicating that it was incomplete. Let's see. Got a marker in the end zone.
Keenan Black on the coverage, Delaware State University.
We'll probably have offside on the defensive line. Nick carries 12 times so far in the game. He's passed the century mark. 12 carries, 105 yards. We'll get the calls here. Hopefully. Offside defense. Declined. Pass interference defense. Declined. Touchdown. Okay, so they'll put those points up on the board. And South Carolina State now goes up again by 3 scores. As we waited for the calls to find out what exactly was going on. And it will be Dylan Bredesen on the extra point kick. Penalty marker as the ball goes through the uprights. And again, we've got people pushing at each other at the line of scrimmage there.
I like the aggression. I just like to see it during the actual plays where it matters and not after the plays where all it does is get laundry.
And if I may at this point, after seeing so many scuffles, we'll get the call, personal foul, Delaware State, and they'll assess that on the kickoff. If I may quote the late Frank Gifford, these two teams just don't like each other.
You know, South Carolina State has more MEAC championships than any team in the conference. They would be the equivalent of Alabama in the SEC. And there was a time where, they were the team to beat. But they've fallen on hard times like many teams that have had strong runs in the conference, Delaware State being one of them. So you're looking at two teams who are trying to get back to where they believe they rightfully belong. And, it's always going to lead to heated exchanges, which is what you're seeing on the field.
Tyrese Nick, 13 of 24 passing on the evening, 4 touchdown passes.
Got to tip your hat to that man's performance.
And then he's killing them with the feet as he has over 100 yards rushing. Dylan Bredesen kicks off for the Bulldogs from the 50-yard line and just about kicks a field goal as that one goes just to the base of the goal post. It's a touchback. They'll bring it on out, and the Hornets will try to make a drive here. 1 minute left in the third quarter. Hornets did manage to score a touchdown for the first time in a couple of weeks.
They did it with the short field. Let's see if they can move the ball and get some points on the long field.
They'll send that offensive unit out here.
It's 1st and 10. Ball on the DSU 25-yard line.
Ball sits on Delaware State's 25-yard line after the touchback. They flood the right side with receivers, 3 on the right side, and a tight end on the left side covering that line. To Bethea, fake handoff, completed pass, just a little one out in the flat, and it's a first down out to the 38-39-yard line. Kwana Kali, you get that ball to him, and he can make some things happen with his feet.
Just give him a totally different look. It wasn't balanced, like you said. It was overload to the right side. You have your 3 big guns all to one side of the field, tight end to the other side. You show run, and you just hit him with the quick pass in space, and look, he does enough to pick up what appears to be a first down.
Get the ball in his hands. He'll make things happen. That's why he's a kick returner also. Bethea on first down. Fakes the handoff. Runs around the right side up to the 45-yard line. Gets a block to the 50-yard line. And taken out of bounds at the South Carolina State 48-yard line.
It's been there for him, Gary, and I think that big run is going to give him more confidence to actually keep running the ball. And it's going to force that South Carolina State to defend him differently. Just a good fake, nothing on the corner. He reads the block very well, bounces out to the outside, and picks up enough yards for the first down.
Trey Gross with a nice block out there to let Bethea get to the outside and pick up the extra yardage. Now they'll hand it off, go into the middle. Bryant Dallas pushing and pushing, getting forward to the 42-yard line. That's a gain of 6. A determined run by Bryant Dallas, and that will bring an end to the third quarter here in Dover, Delaware. 15 minutes to go, and we will break away here. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3. And this is HSRN, the voice of HBCU sports.
Available Pro Pilot Assist. Presenting the Nissan Altima. Impossibly smart.
15 minutes still to play here in Dover, Delaware, at Delaware State University, where the South Carolina State Bulldogs have a 21-point lead. Gary Lang and Mike Walker here with you. And it is Delaware State ball with a good run right through the middle up to the 32-yard line. Richard Harris on the carry. They gave him an opening.
Richard Harris is like a short, squat, thick guy, about 200 pounds, and he's all about his north and south game. He likes hitting the hole, running full speed. He's one of those guys you're not going to bring down with an arm tackle.
That's a good drive going together here for Delaware State that started in the latter part of the third quarter.
Delaware State just taking advantage of what South Carolina State is giving them. If they're going to loosen up because they have a little bit of a lead, Delaware State has to be able to take advantage of that.
Here's Bethea throwing the screen. It is complete. It's Harris on the carry, and he dives forward down close to the 25, 26-yard line. It's going to leave the Hornets about 4 yards short of a first down.
Just a good flare pass. You know, again, getting the ball to your playmakers out in space and allowing them to do what they do best.
Second down and 4. That's a good first down play to pick up 6 yards there. A lot of options on 2nd and 4.
Right. It takes a lot of pressure off of the quarterback because he knows he can go for something and doesn't have to worry about throwing the perfect pass.
Bethea hands off on 2nd down. The Hornets will have a first down as they drive for yardage down around the 20-yard line of South Carolina State. And that's just determined running by Richard Harris. Harris didn't get many carries early in the football game, but he's working hard here. He only had 3 carries through the first 3 quarters of the game, and now he's had 2 here in the fourth quarter.
6 foot, 215 pounds. When he gets, that freight train body of his going forward, he's hard to bring down.
Those offensive linemen down there pushing some people out of the way, too. Bethea scrambles, right side, throws, end zone, incomplete, threw it out of bounds as he was about to get hit. Tried to run to the right side, scramble out there, realized that the linebacker had come up, nowhere to go, and threw the ball away.
Again, Bethea looking downfield, a little hesitant, trying to stretch out the pass, not really looking for the run option, and when he did decide to run, it was a little bit too late. But he's got to kind of know the situation. When it's a 1st and 10 situation and you see some daylight on that corner, you got to tuck and run and try to create that 2nd and short situation. Don't always try to force the pass.
Bethea is now 13 of 28, 119 yards passing. He'll hand it off to Harris. He goes out around right tackle following that tackle and gets down to the 17-yard line. And again, some pushing after the play. So now it'll be 3rd down and about 17 for Delaware State. And a timeout called.
Got another Hornet down on the carpet.
Yep. One of those offensive linemen took the brunt of it. Once again, we'll be back in action here for Delaware State, and we'll be in Baltimore next Saturday when the Hornets visit Morgan State. And a break in the action, a timeout on the field. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3. This is HSR.
Impossibly smart.
Welcome back as we come back to action here at Delaware State. The Hornets with a 3rd down and about 8 yards to go. The ball on the 23-yard line of South Carolina State. If you've just joined us, the Bulldogs leading 31-10. Hornets trying to get some of that back. Tyleek Bethea throwing end zone. Waiting for the call. Touchdown, Delaware State. Well thrown ball and a touchdown for the Hornets. And it is Kawana Kali on the reception.
Great pattern, great throw, great protection. When you give this kid an opportunity to look downfield and you give that kid an opportunity to put his hands on the ball, that's what usually happens. Everything just working for Delaware State University on that play.
Now they go for the extra point, and it is good. Hornets put some more points on the board and draw closer again, still hanging in there, 2 touchdowns away. 31-17. No quit in this team. They've broken a few times, but they haven't quit.
Right, and you got to give Nick a tremendous amount of credit, Tyrese Nick for South Carolina State today, because he's been Mr. Do-It-All, leading all rushers in today's game, 4 touchdown passes, shown a whole lot of grit and a whole lot of toughness back there in the pocket. But Delaware State University refuses to go away, and I like this. I like the fact that they're still fighting like there's a chance to win, because you know what? There is a chance to win. There's plenty of time left in this game for them to put a couple of drives together and, push this thing to the limit.
South Carolina State has committed 2 turnovers in this game, another one, and one of them led to a Delaware State score. So do it again, and Delaware State could take advantage. 9 plays on that drive, 75 yards, took 3.5 minutes, and 1 extra tick off the clock. This kickoff is a bit short, taken at the 10-yard line. Returned up the right side to the 20, 25, 30, and just short of the 35-yard line on the return by Traquan DuBose. Bulldogs will start off from their own 34-yard line. He showed some speed coming up there, too. Found that seam on the outside.
A good job by Delaware State University of closing. Like you said, it was kind of a short kick, gave him an opportunity to field that thing running. But he might have gotten a few more yards had Delaware State really not been in pretty decent position on that kickoff return. Now it just comes down to some solid D. They've gotten some 3-and-outs before. They need a 3-and-out right now.
All right, it's at the 35-yard line is where the officials finally set it down. Tyrese Nick having a good night. A little bit of a delay on the handoff. Didn't bother them, though, because they pick up a first down immediately, flashing out there for 10 yards. LeBron Morris. What a night for him.
Delaware State University is extremely aggressive on their blitz package tonight. And, if you get past that first level and you can avoid that initial onslaught, you're going to be running until you encounter some D-backs, and that's exactly what's happened tonight.
I don't know if Morris landed on that football, but he was just about doubled over as he got to the sideline, fell. He's still in pain, and none of the trainers have gone to see him. Hornets stopping that running play for a loss of a yard back to the 44-yard line as they tried to come up the middle.
Second down for the Bulldogs.
Looked like Brandon Carswell in on that tackle.
Yep.
Out of that D-line position. I mean, this guy, a graduate student here at Delaware State University, played at Savannah State. They went down to Division II. I guess, he wanted his career to continue, but at the D1 level, so he transferred to Delaware State.
And hold on, we have whistles now after the snap and penalty marker on the play. Carswell won all MEAC honors at Savannah State. So, I mean, he was one of the main players for that team down there. And as they made the move out of the MEAC, he made the move out of Savannah State. He was a third-team All-MEAC pick last season and only played in 10 of the games.
False start on the offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Now, his transfer was not because Savannah State moved out of the MEAC. He's a graduate student, has a bachelor's degree in electronics engineering from Savannah State. So he just had that extra year of eligibility and called up here and talked to Coach Rod Milstead. And Rod Milstead, bring it.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to, continue your education and give us what you do best on the field.
Yeah, bring it here.
And he's a tremendous asset for Delaware State University. And they're going to need players like him for the foreseeable future to support some of these young, growing guys that they're cultivating.
Second down and 17. Step up of 5 yards after that 2-yard loss previously. And coming through the middle, LeBron James. Check that. Datron James through the middle on that. Picked up about 5 to make it 3rd and 12.
Big play for Delaware State right now. If they can stop them, they'll get their offense back on the field. And right now I think the offense's confidence is really growing. They're probably excited. They all got their helmets on, and they're looking to get back on the field right now.
Yeah, they'd like to get back out there very quickly. Here's Nick on a quick out. Complete, but it's going to be short of the first down by about 5 yards. Rodriguez-Thomas made the catch, and another Delaware State player shaken up on that play.
The man on the tackle, DeAndre Blue Illy, he's down on the field.
Defensive injury, media timeout.
And we have a timeout. We'll take this break also with the timeout on the field. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3, and you're listening to HSRN, the voice of HBCU sports. South Carolina State about to punt to Delaware State on 4th down and 4 from the Hornets' 49-yard line.
Keenan Black deep to return this punt.
I don't think they're going to kick it to him, though. Good hang time on that. It will bounce, and it will squirt into the Delaware State end zone, or did they touch it just before it went in? We're getting indication of a touchback. That ball, Delaware State's had some good bounces on punts tonight. They got a good bounce on that one from the other team punting as that ball took off for the end zone like it wanted to go to the mall across the street.
Right. They got a baker's roll on that one.
There was a sale at the mall, and they wanted to get there before me.
So here's what Delaware needed to do. Right, it prevented South Carolina State from adding any more points to the board. The offense has shown the ability to move this ball against this defense. They have to show that they can move it 80 yards to pay dirt.
9:42 to go in the game. There is time. And here is quarterback Tyleek Bethea out of the shotgun, stepping up, has time, going downfield. It is going to be broken up, and the Hornets should be happy that it was broken up because a chance for an interception went away from Scott Robinson Jr., the defensive back.
Looked like Trey Gross literally had an opportunity to catch this ball. Tyleek Bethea puts it in that area, and it hits Trey Gross literally in the chest.
He got distracted by the defender getting in front, didn't know where the ball was at the last moment, and didn't realize until it hit him that it was right there. 2nd down and 10. Well, they opened up the field a little bit with that pass. They've gone deep now, 2 passes in a row. They'll run the ball, and a good opener in the middle. Tripped up coming through the line of scrimmage, though, on that play. The running back, Bryant Dallas.
Bryant Dallas, not being able to keep his feet. It's one of those situations where you got to maintain your balance and pick up as many yards as you can. And, he's a small guy. He's the smaller of our running backs. They like to hide him behind those big offensive linemen, but you just got to be able to maintain your feet with that initial contact.
201 yards of total offense for Delaware State tonight, 64 on the ground, 137 via the air. They'd like to pick up those numbers here. Bethea, pressure, he's going to go down. He is sacked. Ball came out, but he was already down. But now the official threw that marker in that area that might indicate fumble, and I think that's what they're going to rule, but I thought he was down.
All the patterns are pretty much vertical. You didn't really see anything that was short. Again, allowing a playmaker to make something happen on a short grab. And Tyleek Bethea is kind of just moving in the pocket. Never really had a chance to look downfield comfortably to find anybody open. Can't read if you can't sit still.
I think we're going to get an official's review on this one because they blew the whistle. And it looked like he was down when that ball came out. And, we're going to get a replay of review here.
This review is only really going to influence where we set up for the punt. It's not going to change the outcome of the play.
Yeah, because it'll be 4th down. If it's Del State ball, it's going to be 4th down and more than 10 to go. We're looking at it one more time. The ball.
Nah, that ball left his hand early, so that's actually a fumble.
Okay. Initial play, and from the first replay I saw, it looked like it was in his grasp when he went down. But if the ball was, it's loose. As he hits the ground, it's already out.
Again, and this is what I don't like seeing, a whole bunch of offensive linemen, standing while there's a whole bunch of defensive linemen involved in the play. You got to be able to sustain your blocks, be running or passing. And I'm a firm believer, much like a defensive back, an offensive lineman has to do one thing well. You'd love for them to do both things well, but either you have to be a very good pass blocker or a very good run blocker. You shouldn't be very good at watching your quarterback get up.
So that one could go against Tyleek Bethea here as he faces the possibility of that fumble. And the officials will have the final determination. And I'm not sure. I think they may have already seen what they wanted to see. Referee Antroy Singleton and the field judge Tim Hedgepeth are those who go and look at the replay apparatus taken to them by a MEAC representative. We haven't gotten any indication yet. However, the ball has been marked at the Delaware State 12-yard line, and that is where the fumble was recovered.
I think it's going to be a fair spot. And, at the end of the day, it's really not going to change the results of the play. It's still going to be in a situation where we have to punt.
Ruling on field was a fumble, so they'd have to see something that makes them believe that he had possession of the ball when Bethea hit the ground. And actually, he landed on top of defensive players.
They must not. The officials on the field don't look at, I don't think, any replay. I think they just get the information in terms of what the decision was made.
Okay. So here we go. We're going to find out from Antroy Singleton what the call is as he'll walk up now close to midfield.
After review, the ruling on
And the microphone breaking up, and we can't understand a word he's saying. I'm not sure what he was saying, but the defensive unit has gone out for Delaware State, so I think that gives us an indication of what the ruling was. No, it's the punting unit. So they're going to rule no fumble.
I think they're going to say Delaware State University recovered.
Well, that could be as well. Never even looked at that part. Jose Romo Martinez goes out there. He is standing right at his goal line to take the snap. The Hornets to punt. And the Bulldogs pull back here like they're going to. Oh, it's a fake. The Bulldogs pulled back to cover. They wanted to run the punt back, and Jose Romo Martinez wisely watched. He did that earlier in the game and then did kick the ball. This time, though, he waited, ran the ball, and took it up and was knocked out of bounds outside of Delaware State's 30-yard line, and it's first down Hornets.
Yeah, he did that on his own too, Gary. That wasn't actually called by the special teams. He just recognized nobody was actually, attempting to block or cover him.
He saw 11 white jerseys, and he saw backs. They were
Right.
going back on punt coverage. Nobody was watching the punt.
Heads up. Great job by him extending the drive for Del
Did that
State.
earlier and was watching them, and then decided he would kick the ball. This time, he gets the first down at the Hornets' 34-yard line. They'll run the ball on first down and get stacked up at the line of scrimmage. 3 defensive linemen grabbing that running back as he tries to get forward, and Richard Harris got nothing on the play. Lucky not to lose yardage.
Yeah, again, South Carolina State, that defensive line doing a good job of disengaging from Del State's offensive line and getting to the running back. Got to sustain these blocks. You got to give these running backs a chance to hit that second level. Defensive linemen should not be making tackles on running backs. It should be linebackers.
You got to open that hole for that running back. Second down and 10. Bethea, quick pass out. And don't know if it was Bethea's fault on that one or a receiver ran the wrong route. Supposed to cut out instead of in. Incomplete pass.
Don't know what the problem on that play was, but here's what I do know. There's a sense of urgency. And in this moment, you got guys who are just not on the same page. That tells me that, listen, this really needs to be addressed in practice. These guys don't have the chemistry that you need at this point in the game to make these big plays.
Just under 7.5 minutes still to go here in Dover. Now it's third down and 10. Hornets put 3 receivers out wide on the right side. They did that once before and picked up the third down. Bethea looks, runs right side, throws, and it is broken up and intercepted. Tipped by one defender and then picked off. And they won't get to the end zone. Got down to the 5-yard line. But getting the interception, Cornelius Walker, a linebacker, he got the benefit of the tipped ball and was there to pull it in.
Talik Bethea, just kind of thought he was, I guess, looking to target Kawana. He was on the run. He's not as accurate as he is staying in the pocket when he's throwing on the run, and that ball got tipped and intercepted.
The safety, Jalen Barr, stepped in front and tipped that ball, and then it was picked off by Cornelius Walker. Took it down. 2 penalty markers down on the field.
Yeah, he just didn't see the defender on the right side of the field, and just good job. Good defense.
Looks like this one could cost field position for South Carolina State. They should have it down around the 5. They've brought this back out to the point of infraction, which is the 33-yard line, and now they'll step it off.
Penalty is declined. Penalty 10 yards. South Carolina State maintain possession.
Yeah. 2 penalties on the play. The first one declined. The second holding occurred at the 33-yard line. So they'll bring the ball back to there and bring it out to the 43-yard line. And instead of having it first and goal at the 5, South Carolina State will have it first and 10 at Delaware State's 43. So a bit of a break for the Hornets on that, even though they committed the turnover.
The clock is starting to work against them. They really needed points on that possession. And then they needed another defensive stop. You can't keep asking your defense to make these great stops and change possession.
Defense has 2 takeaways. Maybe they can pull off another one here. The run, good for about a yard for South Carolina State. LeBron Morris to the 42. And really at this point, somebody on defense makes a subtle reminder. One guy make the tackle, wrap him up, another guy tackle the ball, see if he can tear it loose.
Yeah, they're going to have to try to force something, because, again, the clock is starting to work against Delaware State University. Trailing again by 2 scores. They're going to have to get, 2 touchdowns. Field goals are not going to do it for them.
2nd down and 9. Tyrese Nick fakes the handoff, passes, and it is complete at the 36-yard line to Demontrez Burrows. It will be 3rd down and 3. Let's see if this defense, which has been on the field for an awful lot of time tonight, is able to do anything here. Actually, the time of possession is very strange. Delaware State has had a longer time of possession in the game than South Carolina State. But the Bulldogs have struck quickly a number of times. Those big gains. There's a pitch out, right side. And it is going to be a 1st down for South Carolina State. LeBron Morris took it around the side, was hit just about where he needed to get to for a 1st down. Managed to push forward and get additional yardage to the Delaware State 28.
Yeah, Delaware State's doing a good job of coming up and making contact, Gary, but they got to wrap their arms around to stop these South Carolina State running backs. They're not going down with arm tackles. You're not going to be able to just bump them and they're going to fall to their knees. These guys have good balance, and more importantly, they have determination. They're not going to go down unless you tackle them.
And you see the Bulldogs taking as much time as they want between plays here now, as it's down to 5 seconds on the play clock. And finally, Nick takes the snap, runs forward himself to the right side. Got about a yard up to the 27. 2nd and 9. I don't think South Carolina State's quite as concerned with getting a lot of yardage on a single play. They just want to keep the 1st downs going and put some more points on the board and eat up that clock. Down to 4.5 minutes left.
It's 2nd and 9 at the DSU 27.
Taking their time getting these signals from the sideline, and now they get into formation and down in the 3-point stance with 5 seconds left on the play clock. Nick just got that snap off at 1 second. He'll keep it, try to go around the left side, and he gets buried. Nowhere to run, lost a yard, back to the 28.
Good job by Niebauer on that play. Nick trying to play peekaboo behind his offensive lineman, just looking to see if he could bounce outside. But Jahai Niebauer did a good job of kind of forcing him to jump around there in the back, and then the pursuit came in and cleaned him up.
3rd down and 10. Big down here for the Hornets to make a stop, try to get that ball back and do something quickly. And again, looking to the sideline, using up as much clock as he can. Good, smart playing by Tyrese Nick. Drops back, pressure. He got hit as he let it go, and that ball went way off the mark. Hornets blitzed from that blind side, overwhelmed that tackle out there, and they got to Nick.
Again, that defense, Gary, doing a good job of keeping pressure on the South Carolina State offense, trying their best to get the offense of Del State back on the field to see if they can, mount a drive and, again, chip away at this 2-touchdown lead.
4th and 10. And the offensive unit is on the field for South Carolina State. Even if they don't make it, Delaware State has to work from their own 28 or whatever yardage they're able to make here. And now it looks like the Bulldogs are going to call a timeout. The offensive unit will stay on the field until somebody sends the special teams unit out there. And so they just stayed there, and there had to be a decision made somewhere along the line on what they were going to do with that.
You would think that South Carolina State would at least attempt the field goal, because if they were to make the field goal, they turn it into a 3-score game.
And we will have this timeout and this opportunity to take a break with 3:20 left in the game. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3 and listening to HSRN, the voice of HB.
Impossibly smart.
Big fourth down coming up here at Delaware State University. It's 4th and 10 for South Carolina State. With 3:20 left on the clock, Delaware State trying to get that ball back and see if they can put something together here in the last 3 minutes or so. Pressure put on the quarterback again, took some hits, but a touchdown by South Carolina State as that receiver just ran in between two defenders and made the catch. Demontrez Burrows on the catch for South Carolina State. And I'll tell you what, Tyreek Nick felt that one.
Did a good job of just placing that ball where only his receiver could catch it. And, you know, a couple of D-backs at Delaware State University just taking poor paths in their coverage. And, you know, when you look at that replay, you're just going to see guys were actually in position. Keenan Black's got his bead on the ball, but he doesn't get up at the highest point, and that ball goes behind his hands and falls right into South Carolina State's hands.
Extra point kick is good for South Carolina State. And that puts Delaware State down by 21, 38-17. Two big losses in a row for the Hornets now, with the loss last week at North Carolina A&T, 47-0. This one not quite as bad for Delaware State, but it hurts. It hurts. This was a game they wanted to get so that they could get that first MEAC win of the season. And instead, South Carolina State, in their first conference game of the season, is going to get that victory. And that's going to make the standings pretty interesting in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference.
Yeah, so, you know, Delaware State University, even though the game in theory is not over, right, they still have to approach the coming games like it's the first game of the season. Have to literally put everything behind them and recognize that now they're playing for the present, right, but also for the future. They're really just trying to grow their team in game situation.
Nick is 16 of 28 for 253 yards passing on the game. Hornets on the return of the kickoff. A little bit of running room there, and it finally closes up at the 24-yard line. Jordan Hanna on the kickoff return for Delaware State. They'll take it over, 1st and 10 at their own 24-yard line. 76 yards to go, 3 minutes and 5 left to play. Next week, we go to Baltimore.
You going home?
Yeah, I'll look at the old homestead as we're over there. And we're at Morgan State, 1 o'clock here on HSRN.
Excited about that game. Again, you know, Morgan is pretty much at the level of Delaware State University. They're still trying to find their program and, you know, pretty much like we are.
There's that quick screen pass completed to Jordan Hanna. Hanna down the sideline and finally knocked out of bounds, but not before he picks up good yardage out close to the 45-yard line. 1st down, Hornets.
Man, he really finished that run extremely well. He impacted Jalen Evans, the defensive back, and he might have catapulted him in the air by about 5 or 6 yards. That's a tremendous run.
Morgan State looking, I'll get this after this play, completed pass again to Hanna, and another 1st down for Delaware State to the 41 of South Carolina State. Morgan State looking for their first win of the season. They're 0-5 after today's action, and that puts them at 0-2 in the conference. Delaware State, after tonight, will be at 0-3 in the conference, but 1-4 overall. Again, the screen pass, faked the screen, he pulled it down, and it's a good thing he did. It might have gone 6 the other way. As a defender was in there, it looked like he was going to break up the pass if Bethea had let it go. Maybe out of the corner of his eye he saw that, pulled it down and ran.
You know, Gary, we've seen Bethea tuck and run a couple times in today's game, and he's been pretty effective when he does it. You know, when he develops that skill set and adds it to his game, I think he's just going to be a much more dangerous player.
2nd and 2, they'll run left side, and it is a good run for a 1st down. Bryant Dallas to the 28-yard line.
The change.
Dallas is such a determined runner. You don't get him on the first reach out and somebody grab a hold of him. He'll rip through that and get into a couple of other players having to bring him down.
South Carolina State had a whole bunch of reserves on that last defense set, and Coach Pugh pulled them all out and put the starters back in.
Let's substitute 11 on this play. Here's Bethea throwing to the end zone. It is going to be, let's see what the ruling is.
It's going to be a catch.
Complete at the 2-yard line to Trey Gross. He went up against the defender, jump ball. Trey Gross, the big guy out there, made the catch. First and goal, Hornets at the 2. Handoff in the backfield to Dallas. Tripped up as he came out of the backfield. Got back to the line of scrimmage. And that'll be second down for Delaware State.
Dallas is a smaller guy. He's not like, one of those big, powerful runners. They like for him to get lost in the sauce, so to speak.
The clock will stop here as the defender who got into the backfield and tripped up Dallas was down on the field. It's almost like maybe he took a knee to the head as he tripped him up.
And that's just a great effort by Trey Gross, going as high as he possibly can.
We had a chance to look back there at the replay of that previous play of Trey Gross. But it looked like the South Carolina State player might have gotten kneed in the head as he tripped up Bryant Dallas on the play. And that was B.J. Davis, the linebacker, who was shaken up.
He's walking up under his own power, but he seems to be a little
disoriented.
Yeah, like he might have taken a headshot.
Yeah. He got into the backfield, but he paid for that one.
If they pop his helmet off and they ask him to sit down, then they might go into concussion protocol just to see where he's at.
Yeah, and well, at this point, less than a minute left in the game. He'll go through a bit of it maybe during the week before he's allowed to play next Saturday.
Right. Del State just looking to finish off strong at this point, Gary, and make it look cosmetically better than what it was for the day. But they never got closer than 14 points to South Carolina State in today's effort.
Here's Talik Bethea on third down and goal from the 2-yard line. He is throwing the ball, and it is Quanakali having to fight the defender. I tell you what, they allowed a lot of contact down there, didn't they, Mike?
Yeah, and I questioned the throw a little bit. I'm not sure what the intention was. Was it a back shoulder pass, or was that one of those passes where they just wanted to get it up in the air and let Quanakali make something happen? Bethea has to be a little bit more definitive with his throw.
And well, I'll wait till after the play. They go for it. They run on fourth down. That's third down, rather. Bryant Dallas on the carry brings up fourth down.
Again, Bryant Dallas really struggling to pick up any yards inside the tackles. Is not a real big guy running inside the tackles. More of a small guy who probably would be best served catching that ball out in the flats.
Last gasp here for Delaware State on fourth and goal from the 3. Dallas fake handoff, and it is the quarterback, Talik Bethea, who runs it into the end zone for the touchdown. Talik Bethea caps this game for Delaware State with a touchdown.
Showed a burst of ability on this run, Gary. Just getting up in that hole and turning on the jets. The kid has good speed. Again, he just has to develop the run part of his game.
We may have seen a new dimension to his game coming in here tonight as the Hornets kick the extra point, and that is using his feet.
He's going to need it, Gary, because there's a lot of dual threats at this quarterback position here at Delaware State University, and until such time where that offensive line can protect him and allow him to look downfield, he's going to have to be able to pick up some yards, just running the ball.
So Talik Bethea puts the touchdown on the board for Delaware State, and maybe some people say, well, it doesn't matter, there's only 17 seconds left. Yeah, when you're fighting to put your offense together, every point counts, every touchdown, right down to the final gun.
Right. A live rep is better than any rep you'll ever receive in practice. So, again, he's starting to learn what it looks like to run through these holes. A lot of times, Gary, the game slows down when you start to take hits. Not fear per se. It's not fear, but, it is I'll call it an anxiety of not knowing exactly how something's going to turn out.
Survival instinct starts to come
when
in.
you're first starting to do something. And, he's just got to continuously add to his run game. That's going to actually strengthen his pass game.
And for 90% of quarterbacks coming out of high school as true freshmen, this game is played at a faster pace than they're used to.
Oh, yeah. The difference between being open in high school and being open in college is literally like 3 feet, all right?
It's almost the same kind of transition that college players have to make when they go pro. The game is much faster. They'll squib kick this one down to the 20-yard line, and the return man will down it at the 21 for South Carolina State. They'll come out in the victory formation and just take the snap, and that'll take care of business here. Jawan Moody handled that squib kick. So for Delaware State, it's pull it together this week and try to before they go to ball, have that game on HSRN at 1 o'clock. For South Carolina State, well, they've just made the MEAC pretty interesting with their first conference game of the season and a win here today to make them 1-0 in the conference. North Carolina A&T went to 2-0 today. Florida A&M picked up a win. They go to 2-0 in the conference, but they're ineligible for postseason. So that's it. As South Carolina State defeats Delaware State 38-24. And we will break away here. We will say good evening to our viewers watching along the line on ESPN3. Thanks for being with us.